Good evening, everyone, and welcome out to the iVCS. This is the playoff round of 8, and so this is at Martinsville Mayhem. So this is at Martinsville Speedway. This is going to be an insane race. I cannot wait to see what happens here on this half-mile track, as this week is cut week. And so basically what we mean by cut week is once we get done with this race, the playoff top 8 are going to be cut to the playoff top 4. And so it is a very, very important race here tonight. We got 300 laps to figure this thing out. We do have a couple stages in the middle there, but no fast repairs, because here in the iVCS, we're as close to NASCAR as you can possibly get without actually being in the race. And so no fast repairs. If you get damaged, you got to figure it out. So here is our playoff picture right now. Timothy Latham up there, up in front. He has won the last 2 races, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but he's looking for his second three-peat of the year. And so Oscar Jensen there in second place. He is 23 points above that cut line. Chad Gunningsman, 18 points above the cut line. Zach York, 15 points above the cut line. And so we're going to be talking a lot about the cut line tonight. We're going to try to keep you as up-to-date as we can possibly keep you tonight. Going to be tough to kind of be sure everything's accurate, but we're going to get you the unofficial standings as quickly as we possibly can tonight. Justin Boyles, 15 points below that cut line. He's got a little bit of work to do. Benjamin D, he's got a lot of work to do out there. So maximum points in a race is 66, and so Benjamin D needs at least 32, and then for Zach York and Justin Boyles to do something very bad on the track. So he needs some help. Dakota Jorgensen, it's essentially a win and you're in for Dakota Jorgensen. That's pretty much, for the most part, the only way he'll be able to make it in. And then Kendall LeVron is definitely a win-only scenario. So a lot of these guys have to win tonight, and it's going to be tough to do because these short tracks are typically dominated by these top 4 that are up there on the screen right now. So let's talk about these drivers just a little bit. So let's start off with Timothy Latham, who is our points leader right now. So far, he has won 9 races throughout the entire season. So nobody else can beat him as far as wins are concerned. Only Oscar Jensen could possibly tie him, but he would have to win this week and next week in order to do that. So 7 wins during the regular season, and then the past 2 races, Timothy Latham has won those. So he has led about 22% of the laps all season long. So basically almost a quarter of the time, this guy is going to be out front. So top 5 in 64% of his races. So again, even if he's not in first place, he's at least in that top 5. So just absolutely an incredible year for him. Ranked number 1 during the regular season. And then, of course, he qualified for the championships 2 weeks ago at Kansas, but he just won Texas last week just for good measure. Next up, we've got his main competition right now, Oscar Jensen. Now, I say his main competition because Oscar's got 7 wins on the season. 3 of those have been in the playoffs. And so really he has been on fire all playoffs long. He's only led 14% of the laps, but still anything more than 10%. I mean, you're a dominating driver. So ranked number 2 during the regular season, obviously. And then he qualified for the round of 8 with a win at Talladega. He's still trying to be sure he punches his ticket into the next round. You can see up there in the yellow, it says 23 points above the cut line. Once again, that is not an insurmountable lead. If he has a really bad start to this race, he could potentially be on the outside looking in. So he's got to be very, very cautious. Just get that car around the track safely. If he does that, pretty sure he'll make it in. But he's got to be super careful not to be the first car out. Next up, Chad Gunningsman, and so we call him Mr. Clean and Mr. Consistency, and because Mr. Clean, he has the fewest incident points of anybody in the playoffs right now. Basically, he just stays away from everybody else, keeps that nose clean, and when he keeps that nose clean, he's able to drive that car up through the pack at the end of the race, which is usually what he does anyway. So Mr. Consistency, top 10 in 65% of his races. So he's usually always in that top 10 range. So be on the lookout for him. He only does have one win on the season at Indianapolis, but believe me, he is always up front. So just kind of be on the lookout for him. If he's not up front, if he starts off kind of towards the back a little bit, just beware towards the end of a tire phase, towards the end of a stage, something like that. You'll see him sneak up in there into that top 5. He's one of those quiet killers. You just never know he's there until he's already passed you. Next up, we got Zach York. Zach in the number 49 for Flying Arrows. He's got the second most laps led on the season with 877, Timothy Latham being the first. He's got 2 wins on the season, both at short tracks. And so that's going to come in play tonight because Martinsville is a short track. And so he's a front runner. He's pole position in 1 out of 5 races, so 20% of his races. And then he was ranked number 3 during the regular season. All right, let's start talking about the guys that need a little bit of help to get into the next round of the playoffs. And I'm joined right now by Brandon, Superman Brand Browning. How's it going, Brandon?
Oh, man, running a little bit behind tonight. Typical true dad fashion, had to get my son a costume, and I waited till the absolute last minute to do so. So I just fought my way through Walmart, through all the crazy people that also waited to the last minute, and hurried back home to broadcast.
Hey, man, it is all good. I'll tell you, I've been excited about this race, but, take a look at Justin Boyles here, the leader of the iVCS. He's going to need a little bit of help to get in.
This is my guy tonight. I don't know that I'm going to pick him to win, and the reason I say that, Sean, is because you and I very much have the broadcaster's curse. If we pick someone, they typically don't win. But I think this is the guy that gets it done somehow, some way. I don't know how. I don't know that he goes to victory lane, but something just tells me that Boyles makes it on the other side of this.
Yeah, it would be kind of strange to not have the creator of iVCS in that finals, but he's got some work to do, as does Benjamin D for the Flying Arrows.
Yeah, and Benjamin D is one of the guys that I didn't really expect to be below the cut line at this point. I fully expected, him to have a win and be locked in, and not even having this conversation with you or with our viewers because he's had such a solid season, and he's got the 2 wins, 1 in the playoffs. He pretty much handedly controlled what happened at the Roval and Daytona. It was pretty much the arrows versus the field, but he's got a long way to go. And honestly, Sean, he's in a must-win situation.
Yeah, he's pretty close to that, as is Dakota Jorgensen. So Dakota has even more ground to make up. And pretty much with 50 points below the cut line, you kind of have to win.
Yeah, 50 points below the cut line, the max amount of points you can get in a race is 66. That's with the other guy not even being here, Sean, because you get at least 1 for starting. Then, if you're not the final driver there on the field, and, if you come in, run 1 lap and leave, you get at least 1 point. So he's 50 down, 66 is the max he can gain. Only way I see Dakota Jorgensen on the other side of this is if things get wild and he pulls off the victory.
And then the other guy that could make things wild because he's done this in the past already in the playoffs, Kendall LeVron. So he had a surprise win in the very first race of the playoffs. And here he is again needing a win to get to the championship.
I'm going to tell you, I know of 2 instances where Kendall LeVron's back was against the wall and he didn't stand a chance. And in both of those, Sean, he won at Pocono and he moved on to the playoffs. And then he went to Darlington and his back was against the wall and he didn't stand a chance. He was a surefire elimination and he won. Watch out for this 28 machine tonight because Kendall LeVron, when his back is in the wall, when he's backed into a corner, he's dangerous.
Now, just to kind of update everybody once again with all those viewers that are just now showing up, here's the iVCS playoff picture. So, of course, Timothy Latham already in with the last 2 wins. And then Oscar Jensen, Chad Gunningsman, Zach York, all within about 8 points of each other. So at any point, one of those has a bad race, they could be out.
Yeah, and honestly, just looking at the 4 that are in right now, Sean, I didn't expect 2 of them to be the guys in. And the reason I say that is not because I think that they're not capable of driving, to the ability to get in. I just seen the races fall in different ways. The 2 that I fully expected to be where they are both Timothy Latham and Oscar Jensen. However, I did expect Chad Genningsman to be close, but I expected, of course, with him being away for college, I expected obviously Zach York to not be there. But even after he come back, I expected him to almost swap roles with Benjamin D. I fully expected Benjamin D to be the guy that we're talking about, 15 points above the cut line, not 32 below. So it's interesting that the guys that are there now have arguably been the guys that have deserved it all season long. But the problem is if you take at least 3 of those 4, and nothing against Kendall LeBron, but if you take the other 3 there, Sean, those are guys, the top 7 here are guys we talk about and even previous, the other broadcasters that ran this show, they all talked about this top 7. It was always those 7 guys that were somewhere in the conversation. So really surprising that only 4 of them are going to make it out in that specific 4.
Yep, and they've got their qualifying taken care of. Let's take a look at it. And, of course, up front, Timothy Latham, our points leader, points champion for the regular season. I mean, he has just dominated everything. Here he is up in first again, and Zach York right behind him.
Yeah, and in third place, Kendall LeBron, a solid start that he needed to Martinsville, followed by my newfound guy that I'm a fan of, apparently, Oscar Jensen.
Benjamin D is in fifth place. Justin Boyles, the guy that needs a little bit of help in a really, really good race, is in sixth.
Seventh place is Tim Hendry, returning to finish out the season with us. And eighth place, Jordan Sailors.
Ninth place, Dakota Jorgensen. 10th place, Chad Gunningsman.
11th place, a little bit shaky for me there, but looks like Greg Edney. In 12th place, the guy that you can never count out, Daniel Dow.
All right, so we've got 13 guys on the track. Now, this is only a half-mile track, Brandon, so 13 guys, that might be more than enough to see some action out there.
Well, the bad news, Sean, it's going to be enough that it's going to almost put fifth place in the points, Justin Boyles himself, in a must-win situation with 13 drivers on the field, and Boyles needs 15 points. Even if he was to win the stage, the odds of the guys around him and ahead of him getting a good stage finish are also there. So pretty much all of our guys below the cut line are going to need a win.
And we're going to attempt to keep everybody informed on what's going on with the stage points and that as we get to that point. So just to let everybody know, our first stage ends on lap 78, second stage lap 156, and then, of course, the 300-lap finale.
Yeah, and it's going to get a little bit rowdy. They're going to knock in some doors and beat and bang on each other. I've got my pick for my favorite paint scheme already. I know a lot of them are similar paint schemes that we ran. Just, in the Halloween spirit, we talked about Halloween being tomorrow. I do enjoy that 5-car, that voodoo scheme. It's probably my favorite paint scheme that Timothy's ever made. It is a beautiful one. And the bad news for these other guys, I have a feeling he's trying to go 3 for 3 in this stage, Sean.
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier that, well, you know what? We'll come back to it here in a second because Pace Car is about to dive off. So we're about to get this party started, Brandon.
Yeah, and it won't be long because this pit road wraps around almost the entire track. And actually, I think, this time by, he should be finding his way clear. Well, maybe. I thought that would be it, but not really sure here.
Here we go. He's going to dive in right here, and then we're going to get started, I believe.
Yeah, that's a confusing pit road. The cones look the same on both ends. It's a big wrap around, but this time the pace car is gone. Timothy Latham, yet again, joined on the front row by Zach York, about to take us Martinsville Mayhem Racing, the final race before the championship 4. Timothy Latham has control, and he's gone. We're green flag racing at Martinsville.
And he got a great start, which is what you need here. With such a small track, the farther away you can get, the better.
And the most important thing that you want to do is be single file into that corner. He was about the only car, except for maybe the last car, to be single file. So I'm not really sure who was tail of the field there. Looks like PJ Engelkins might have got to go in there single file, but outside of that, not a whole lot.
Well, Timothy Latham goes ahead and jumps out to a 3/4 second lead, just like he's done pretty much all season long. Kendall LeBron took that second spot away from Zach York.
Yeah, and this is, so far, I know it's early, 300 laps. We're only 3 laps now, starting our 4th lap. Or actually, that was the start of our 3rd lap into this race. But this is kind of the Kendall LeBron we saw, Sean, back at Darlington. He didn't kind of hang around at the
No,
back
yellow
and
flag.
ride.
Yellow flag, Timothy Hendry. Tim Hendry into the wall.
No. We'll see how that shakes out as the first driver down. Going to take a look at it with the rec replay. We'll see just what happened to Tim Hendry in the 07 machine.
And here he comes all by himself, and this was just kind of self-imposed. Just gunned it a little bit too soon, and the back end came around.
Yeah, the one thing that comes to mind there, Sean, watching that replay is an egg under the gas pedal. As they say, you got to be really easy to pick the throttle up here. It's so hard to come into a corner or out of a corner and just mash the throttle down. You know, it's what you want to do. It's what it feels like you could do. But as Tim Hendry just learned, that's not the case here.
No, definitely not. And so first caution already, 4 laps in. So, Brandon, since we're under caution here, we've got a little bit of time. Who's your pick?
I've got to go with the man that's been in control of this round. He's got all the momentum. He's got no reason not to go with him. He's driving my favorite paint scheme. I've got to go with Timothy Latham.
I'm going to go just a tad different. I'll tell you why. I'm going to go Zach York. So, I mean, already right now he's pointing into the playoffs as we speak. But the reason I'm picking him is he's got 2 wins on short tracks.
That is a very, very solid pick. I can't remember back. I remember talking to both Justin Boyles and Timothy Latham about it. Who had the best finish here the last time we were here? Oh, is someone back there, Benjamin D, blinking out for a moment. But a lot of these guys that are up front right now did not have successful Martinsville races the last time we were here. So someone going to be able to capitalize on that and, you know, really see and get it done this time.
Yeah, the last true short track that we had, I believe, was Bristol, and that was a rough race for Justin.
Yeah, it really was, and Justin's been, you know, he's been alive very much throughout the playoffs, throughout the entire season. He's done everything that he needs to do. The one thing that he's lacking doing is finding a win in this round, and he hasn't really had terrible finishes. I know he had the one not so hot finish. I think it was Kansas maybe, where he was running pretty solid, and he got down on pit road, locked up the tires a little bit hot, you know, kind of wrecked into the pits, and that threw away a great opportunity. So we'll see if Justin can survive. His back's against the wall, much as some of these other guys are. It's time, you know, it's time to nut up or shut up, so to speak. You know, he's either go or go home, I guess would be, you know, the perfect saying. But here we go, Sean, get us going.
All right, Timothy Latham, once again, with that green flag, he gets the ability to start whenever he pleases. And so he held back for a little while, and then he took off once again. Kendall LeBron, not a very good start. In fact, he slowed up and hit Benjamin D.
Yeah, he almost fell asleep there. He's going to lose the second spot. Nowhere for Benjamin D to go. Benjamin was primed and ready, poised to take the third spot away as well, but had nowhere to go. Now Kendall going to find himself on the outside off of the corner. Going to make it tough, but it looks like Boyles is going to slide in line behind him.
And Zach York takes that second position away because of Kendall LeBron's sleepiness there. And so it is going to be a pretty good race here because Zach is so good at these short tracks. Timothy equally is good, obviously.
Yeah, and, you know, Timothy, it's tough. Like, I can't, you know, really name too many tracks that I could say Timothy's not that good at. This one, down his list, I'm sure. You know, we've kind of talked about tracks, and I can honestly say that I've never heard him say, boy, I can't wait to go to Martinsville, which, you know, I don't know a whole lot of people that do like going to Martinsville, but so far he's found the way to lead the line and take off out front.
Another yellow. That's PJ Engelken's back there in the wall, I believe. So we will go back and find out what happened with another rec replay.
Imagine it's going to be more of the same that we saw with Hendry. You either got it off the corner or you don't. I would imagine that's likely what happened, but we'll see here.
Yep, and PJ Engelken's coming around and just, once again, guns it a little bit too soon, which brings that back end around, and he hits the wall, and that's going to affect his engine, Brandon.
Yeah, honestly, that was a tough hit to the inside wall there for PJ Engelken. Sean, I do want to speak in terms of, I know these aren't open sets, but, you know, just talking about PJ Engelken's and the ability to run sets here in the iVCS, I know iRacing has changed a lot about their setups. We went, as Team SRN, we went last week to Dover, and typically the fixed setup at Dover you know, it was a snug setup. But this time when we showed up, it was loose as could be. Like you were playing with the throttle. So a lot of these setups have changed. The way the car drives has changed, and it makes them a lot freer. So guys that typically know the changes they would make, excuse me, I had to sneeze there. It came out of nowhere on me. But the guys that typically know the changes that they would make maybe aren't working here, Sean. Maybe got to go a little bit more deeper into the toolbox and snug those cars up, because it seems like a lot of these cars on the throttle there as they come out just where they were now. When you come off of the concrete, so to speak, there in that lighter bit of pavement, if you will, that's where the car really tries to set itself for the straightaway, and there's no grip there so far. With 13 cars, I know they did an hour of practice, but really not a lot of rubber and grip there, especially if guys choosing to run either a higher or lower lane. So we'll see that change, I'm sure, as the race goes on. Just hopefully by the time we get there, we won't really have a whole lot of damage to the race cars that are here.
You know, these cars that are getting damaged right now, the only people that they're really hurting, because they're not even in the playoffs right now, but that is not something that any of these guys below the cut line want to see, because if one of these cars goes out of the race, then that just means 3 more points that they can't move up on someone else. And so it's really, really a tough thing with the only 13 cars on the track, because the more cars bow out that are not in the playoffs, the more it hurts those guys trying to stay in.
You're exactly right. And the one thing I will say is these cars start to fall out and get damaged and fall behind. The one thing you will see, Sean, is these guys above the cut line get more aggressive to protect that line, to protect their ability to move on. So guys like Timothy Latham, he can be as aggressive as he wants right now because he's locked in, but Zach York, Chad Genningsman, Oscar Jensen, they have to play a little bit strategically, and actually we'll call the restart here. Timothy Latham again off of turn number 4, going to get a solid jump. That time Zach York single file behind him. 2x2 for the moment behind them as Boyles finds his way on the outside. Way up out of the groove goes Justin Boyles. He'll have to fall back and regroup, Sean. But what I was saying, you know, some of these guys like the 49, the 28, the 9078 car, everyone following Timothy Latham now, or anyone you see at the top with a colored name, have to be a little bit careful here, because one slip up could certainly end their night, whereas right now they're just trying to stay alive.
Yeah, all those names that you see up at the top, if they're in black, that means they're not in the playoffs. If they're in green, that's only Timothy Latham. He's into the championship round. If they're blue, right now, currently, they're above the line in points. If they're red, they're below the line in points.
And you see that one black name amongst all of the colored names. Daniel Dow trying to make some noise here. Hasn't really been able to have the season he wanted, but maybe some issues for the 24 car. Not really sure. He was a little bit slower than everyone else, but Daniel Dow down there on the bottom trying to make a name, but as always, the guy coming from the back to the front, Oscar Jensen, putting pressure on him, trying to make the outside line work. I fully expect maybe Oscar to try to ride that outside line for a little bit, Sean, put some grip up there in case he needs it later in the race.
Tough to ride that outside line, because those guys that are on the inside, if they start to lose that grip at all, then you're the one in the line of fire.
Yeah, and honestly, even if you're running the bottom, you could pick any one of these guys, and you saw it a lot there in that corner. Well, actually, let's ride along with these guys right here that we're riding along with. You'll see even the 07 car, he's going to enter on the bottom, but as he gets out of that corner, he comes up about a half a groove. So it makes, it pinches that outside really, really tight, because, even Jordan Saylor's Daniel Dow. Now Dow's trying that outside, seeing how he likes it. Probably not very well, as good as I know Danny Dow. And now we've got Zach York around.
Zach York, one of our current playoff drivers that's up inside the cut, is around. Let's go back and find out what happened with our third wreck replay.
Got a little bit of driver's side damage there after the fact, too, with Zach York. But we'll see. Probably that one looked like he might have had a little bit of help, Sean.
And as they're coming into the corner here, nope, that is just him.
Just lost it earlier in the corner than we've been seeing. Maybe trying to get slowed down, lock those rear tires up, and they started sliding.
And Jordan Saylors hits him.
Such a hard hit. And unfortunately for Jordan Saylors, that's been something that's, it seems like every week he goes to avoid a wreck and somehow gets caught up in it. I know I was talking with a couple of guys from the iVCS, and that's one thing they were talking about. Jordan never means bad. He never tries to do any damage like that, but it's just when he tries to escape it, there's always a car there.
And Zach York already in the pits right now as we speak. And we'll see what happens with that damage that he just sustained. He didn't have any damage on that wreck. He just spun himself out until Jordan Sailors came around. So I'm sure he's extremely upset about that.
Yeah, you could see that left front there just from this shot. It does not look good on that 49 machine. You can see it there, and actually just behind that on the A-frame, right where the A-frame connects to it, even ouch. Damage all the way down the side, it looks like. So hopefully no aero issues. No pun intended. No aero issues for the Arrows driver himself. But Sean, really, Martinsville is a racetrack where you can kind of beat and bang a little bit and be okay. So, not really a need for a lot of aero here.
I was going to ask you because, I mean, you have a lot more experience here than I do. So is aero really that important at Martinsville?
It's not. Honestly, the biggest thing is try not to dent those fenders in so that you can't turn. If we go back, we both ran in Mid-South Madness Season 1. We'll go back and talk about that. Man, I plumb destroyed my race car at Mid-South Madness Season 1. And I was able to run up there with Thomas Rutherford, Daniel Dow at Bristol in the championship race, and I'd beat and banged on the wall. I'd use all of my fast repairs. So it's really not something that you need a whole lot. You just need to be able to turn, still keep the handling under the car. You obviously don't want to damage the tires and things like that. With the new damage model, any sort of damage to the tires causing your turning to be skewed will be a little bit rough. Aero-wise, no, Sean. I mean, he should be totally fine as long as he didn't obviously get any power damage or any issue turning that race car.
Well, you can see Zach York in the pits trying to get as much of this damage repaired as he possibly can for the remainder of the race here. If he's not careful, if he doesn't get out of the pits quickly, then, yep, there he goes. He'll get out of the pits just in time to stay on that lead lap.
Yeah, and the good news for him, he's relatively close to the end there, like the final box. So he doesn't really have a long roll before he's out of the pits. So that's an advantage he'll have that guys that didn't qualify so hot, such as Daniel Dow, he's not going to have those luxuries. He's got to get rolling early because it's a slow pit road and it takes forever to get off of it. But here comes Timothy Latham and Kendall LeBron this time on the front row. Timothy waited, checked up that inside line, and took off, Sean. But that's about the worst restart we've seen for Timothy so far.
And Kendall LeBron was not asleep on that one, but he's up on the outside, so he's going to fall back at least one position. Might be two here with Justin Boyles. Nope, Justin Boyles lets him in.
I'd say, honestly, if there was ever a race this season where the iVCS drivers wish they had that choose rule, it's this track, because it seems like every single time we go down, oh, Zach York again has looped it.
No yellow flag, but he is definitely down there on the inside wall. We'll go back and take a look at it here in our next caution likely, but Zach York now back in 13th position, still technically on the lead lap, but he has got a lot of catching up to do.
Well, the bad news for Zach York is if he continues to struggle and gets behind here, the guy that he is, being chased down by, he doesn't have the luxury, of Oscar Jensen where, if Oscar was to fall back and have a rough race, there's still a cushion of a few drivers. Zach York doesn't have that. He was the 4th place driver. The next spot, he's out of the playoffs. It's a 15-point buffer right now, but you don't want to take any chances because right now running 13th, Zach York's getting no stage points. Right now, Justin Boyles, it would be 10, 9, 8, 7 every stage that he runs in 4th. So 7 and 7, 14 versus none for Zach York. Starts to close that gap really fast, Sean.
And that's all Justin needs. He just needs an opening. But right now, 15 points down, kind of tough to do that. But Zach York is kind of giving him a gift here.
Yeah, and honestly, the thing that Zach York has to hope now is that Justin goes backwards, because if Justin has a long run set, maybe gets past Kendall LeBron, gets past Benjamin D, even maybe, keys up to his teammate and said, hey, look, Timothy, I'm trying to make this next round. I'm going to need you to maybe pit a little bit early, play some pit strategy. I'm not saying, you can't win the race, but I just need some stage points right now. I've got to try to catch Zach York, who's obviously down right now. But honestly, though, Sean, even with the damage, he was about 14 seconds about 4 or 5 laps ago when we first went green. He's still about 14.2 now. So the one thing that he's got that some of these other guys don't have is green track in front of him. There's going to be no one around where he's at. He's back in no man's land. and he's making it work. Actually closed inside of 14 seconds now, so Zach York's car may be okay.
And Chad Gunningsman takes away that 4th position from Justin Boyles, and he'll start to try to pull away a little bit. Nobody can really make the outside work here that well because, I mean, it's just such a small, tight track.
Yeah, and you want to – this track is a little bit tough to drive. Let's actually, Sean, let's jump on board maybe a far chase cam with our leader and see if he's doing it the way that I've always believed it to be done.
Let me see if I can grab that for you here.
There you go. I was going to say, any one of these guys will work. So you watch Timothy as he gets down in this corner. He's going to get as close to that. Oh, he did it perfectly like I want him to do. You get as close to that apron or, ledge, I guess would be the way to say it, as you can, the berm. You want to keep it down as close as you can, but you don't want to touch it because if you touch it, it shoots you up the racetrack. So Timothy's executing this well. You get down in the corner, you're on the brakes, turn it down to the berm, pick up the throttle right in the center just a little, and power off out to the wall. And that is the perfect line that you want to run here. And honestly, if Timothy's running this smooth, lap after lap down as close as he can get, there's no wonder that he's out front because you see the gap every time he goes into the corner. The one way to get closer to him, as Benjamin D's doing, get closer down there, cut that little bit of time off the racetrack, Sean. And honestly, I'd say Benjamin D, if they keep up the lanes they're running, you see Benjamin there running all the way against that red and white berm. Timothy a little bit off of it now. So if that continues, I fully expect Benjamin to close the gap.
And you can see that Benjamin is trying as hard as he can, still 0.9 of a second behind.
Yeah, I'm actually glad, that Benjamin's running up here because this changes the perspective of what we talked about with Zach York. Assuming that he or Benjamin or Kendall LeVron, who are below the cut line, win this race, then it doesn't become Justin Boyles and Zach York running for position to stay alive in the 4th spot. Well, it does, but it doesn't. It means that then they have to bring in and fight with Chad Gunningsman. Because if we have another driver win, Gunningsman slides down to the 4th spot, and both Boyles and Zach York are out. So they actually have to be better than the 9 car of Chad Gunningsman and try to take his spot away in the event that Kendall or Benjamin D reach up here and win this thing. Obviously, Kendall's eliminated right now in a lot of people's minds, but 72 points, there's no way he can point his way in. He's got to go out and win this thing. I think it was 72, right? He was 72 points out.
That's correct. Yeah. So too far out to point his way in. So once again,
he's looking to play spoiler.
Oh yeah, and there's no reason not to. I mean, he's the fun thing with where Kendall LeVron is right now is you've got nothing to lose. Get out there and get it done. Oh, and we do have a yellow flag, and I believe it's Tim Hendry.
More of the same. I think he just gunned that one off the corner and spun down in the little cubby hole.
Well, we're going to go back and take a look, and I believe you were absolutely right. And here he comes down into the corner just a little bit too fast. That back end just comes around.
Yeah, lock them right rear tire. The rear tire's up, getting in, trying to pick up the throttle, and they did nothing but spin. No damage, though. I mean, you could say what you want about Tim Hendry wrecking or causing a caution twice, but he's done no damage to anyone but himself through those 2 cautions. Obviously, a big, big break for Zach York.
Which, speaking of Zach York, let's go back and let's find out what happened with him.
If I had to guess, he just gunned it. Not as hard as he did before, but a little bit, more cautious, and it just carried over into the straightaway, and he just couldn't catch it.
Yep, just once again, everybody's having so much trouble coming off that corner because they don't want to lose any speed, and so they try to gun it, and when they try to gun it, if it's just a millisecond too soon, then that car is not ready to take it yet.
Yeah, and this is one of the issues in Martinsville. You see here riding from any of these, gyro cams or cockpit cams that we have with the drivers, you'll see is actually, I'm not sure who we're riding with here, but it'll be, is this Tim Hendry?
That's Tim Hendry, yeah, that was Tim Hendry.
So you see, actually go back to that shot for just 1 second, that in-car shot. We'll catch them catching up to the field. You see as you look here,
there you go.
As you look at the, out in front of them, let's say you had 100% grip here, you were 100% locked to the racetrack. As you come through the corner, what you see as a driver is what looks like a just mash the gas and go. It's straight as can be. It's a flat racetrack. In theory, you should be able to mash it and go. And that's not the case. You have to ease on that throttle, maybe roll out of it, roll back into it as you get off the corner. But it looks, even here at slow speed, you'll see the cars ahead of him. Tim Hendry's going to get off of this corner, and it just looks like right here you can mash the gas and go. And obviously that's right about where they're having the issues, is trying to find the right amount of throttle, Sean, to get up off of that corner.
Yeah, it's not a lot of banking here, but that little bit of banking, if you hit the gas too soon, that little bit of banking helps that car come around.
Yeah, and especially when you come off of this part right here onto the actual pavement, a little bit different texture, which kind of makes things go a little bit squirrely. Curious, to see who tames it well. I saw the name Jorgensen on the back of Boyle's car, so next caution, I want to know what the back of that car says. I think it would be kind of fun. It's like not like a Trump, not like Trump Pence, but it was Jorgensen and something. It was that type of saying, like Trump Pence 20, but it was Jorgensen and something. So we'll have to take a look at that as we go.
Oh no, that's Gunningsman. And another yellow.
I will tell you, this time Gunningsman had help. Damage to the left rear. I don't know whether it was help spinning or he got hit afterward. His comments were very similar that he had some help getting into that corner here.
And once again, I think Jordan Sailors got involved in this at the end as well. So same as always here, where Jordan's not the cause of the accident, but he's just in the wrong space, wrong time. PJ Engelken's into the back of him.
Forcing it. I know Tim
and Hendry, yep.
That time, Jordan got his place.
He slowed it down.
Again.
So
kind of damaged the Zach York's machine too. So.
And I mean, if this is not a super speedway, I mean, we've only got 13 cars on the track, but on a half-mile track, 13 cars can be too many.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, if you think about it like this, we're running 18, 19-second lap times, right? So you think, all right, you're doing essentially 5 laps a minute. This race is going to go by quick. You've got to get the spots while you can get them. And we see that. These guys trying to take the spots while they have the opportunity. So it does say Jorgensen Cohen. I don't know who Cohen is. I just saw the name Jorgensen, so that was interesting to me. I like it, though, nonetheless. There's the code that we can touch on right now. Raise Energy. Use code TIMTATION, TIMTATION, for 15% off your next repsports.com.
Some fantastic energy drinks. So we definitely appreciate Tim turning us on to those energy drinks. They are fantastic.
This is one I haven't tried that I really want to get my hands on. I want to try Voodoo so bad. It's just, I love Mountain Dew Voodoo. I don't know that they taste anything alike, but Ray's Voodoo just sounds like an energy drink that I need to try before Halloween. Unfortunately, Halloween's tomorrow. I have to try to catch it after Halloween, I guess. But nonetheless, excellent energy drinks that I know, Sean, you've became a super big fan of.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely love them. They're delicious. And so when I'm working late up at the office, that sort of thing, then I've got to have a Raise right next to me.
Yeah, and I've always been a Red Bull kind of guy, but there's only one energy drink that I stay away from, that there's no way I'm going to go near. It's probably an unpopular opinion, but I do not dabble in Monster Energy. Not a fan whatsoever. Voodoo, though, one that's on my list. Raise Energy is at the top of the energy drinks that I will tolerate. They are excellent. It's going to be tough to beat Red Bull for me, though, man. Red Bull is my go-to.
You got to give it a whirl. Got to give it. I mean, talk to Tim. He'll get you one.
Yeah, that's why I told him. I was like, look, hook me up. The sour gummy worms, just the thought of that is just insane. Like, I love gummy worms. I love gummy bears. I love gummy anything, especially if it's sour. Sour gummy worms is going to be I'll probably try it before I try Voodoo. But just so many great flavors. Make sure you check out repsports.com. Place your order, code TIMPTATION, because that man knows how to win. Who's to say that Ray's Energy is not what powers his wins here? I know he drinks one every single Friday, and he's about to take us back to racing, Sean.
So here he comes, Timothy Latham, who's led every lap so far, and he takes off.
PJ Engelken's going to stack up that inside line back. Oh, Zach York diving inside. Not sure if there will be contact there. Looks like they're okay for the moment. Justin Boyle's going to gain a few because of that stack up by Engelken's. Continue on here. Timothy did not get the restart he expected to have. Benjamin D breathing down his neck as they continue on. Ooh, look like we're going to try 3 wide. They decided on 2 wide. We realized we were at Martinsville and not at Texas anymore.
So Oscar Jensen trying to make his way up through the pack. He's fallen about 4 positions back from where he started. So he started up in 4th, now he's back in 8th. He's got a little bit of stuff to make up, but this might be strategy for him too. Just keep that car clean.
Yeah, you see him there, Chad's, charging back to the front. He gets out of Chad's way. He's just trying to keep the fenders on that 51 car. He doesn't want to get behind here. Zach York left front damage. Chad Genningsman left front damage. BJ Engelken's left front damage. So he's trying to keep that car clean. He, Timothy Latham, and a couple of others have, saved damage. Haven't got into too much right so far, but just staying alive is what Oscar's plan is. Comes in with about a 23-point cushion, so no need to panic for Oscar. He's just trying to find Phoenix with Timothy Latham for the final time this season.
Well, Benjamin D has not let Latham get away like he used to, so this might get a little bit more interesting than what we expected it to be here just really shortly. So here comes Benjamin D. Oh, Justin Boyles tags Kendall LeVron, spins him, and that will bring out the caution. Justin Boyles, we saw that live, just got up into him. Let's go back and take a look with another rec replay.
Let's watch this one all the way through because there was some bumper tag going on after the spin. See who got a little bit of damage from that. I saw 1 or 2 cars get into one another, but down into the corner.
Just comes up and gets him in the left rear.
Honestly, I'm going to pin that one on Kendall. And the reason I say that is if we go back and look at the entry to the corner, Boyles is there. Boyles, he didn't have a lot of room, and I'm not saying, those guys are going to like that move, but he's got his nose there, and then Kendall just decided he was going to try to pinch it. Boyles' nose was there, and, nothing obviously going to get a little bit of damage, but there you go. Dow got Oscar. I think somebody got Dow as far as the bumper tag goes, but you see, as soon as you go to enter, Boyles is there. Kendall's trying to fill that hole, but the speed on the new tires belongs to the 8 car. It's a close move this early in the race, but nonetheless, Boyles was definitely there. He had the room, the lane. So interesting to see that type of contact this early on, but Boyles has got to go for it. I don't fault Justin Boyles at all, Sean. I mean, he's on the outside looking in, much as Kendall is. They're running out of time to get this thing done, and maybe he felt that was his opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take your shots when you get them, and so no, you can't blame really anybody for that wreck. I mean, it's Martinsville, man.
Yeah, and in the words of Denny Hamlin, I think it was Denny. He was making fun of whoever. It's just short track racing, There's going to be tempers here, as there always is. I'm so ready for the Cup race, this weekend. Tempers are everywhere at Martinsville. You hear people fussing and complaining, going at each other. I guarantee you, we'll probably see a fight tonight at the end of this race between 2 guys, one on the good end, one on the bad end. But I'd almost guarantee you this Sunday, or I think it's Sunday, it might be a night race, you're going to see tempers flaring yet again in the Cup Series race.
Oh, yeah, when everybody's all squeezed together like they are, especially when it's as important as it is right now in the playoffs, both in NASCAR as well as here in the iVCS, there's so much more on the line. I mean, this is money we're talking about.
Yeah, it's much like, what you would see in real life out there on the track. These guys, you don't have a shot. If you don't leave Martinsville in the championship 4, your shot at that $235 is gone. This your last chance to get there. And Timothy Latham, again, beautiful restart. Now's where we'll see what we were talking about earlier. That third-place car then has the line that you want. Benjamin, the one car that's been able to hold strong on the outside, not even able to challenge Boyles. Now, from what I heard Boyles say during that last caution, he has fresh tires here. So he's trying to use those, lap 80 for the stage, if I'm not mistaken?
78. So 78.
So he's trying to get that stage win. He wants as many points as he can get, make it that much easier. Zach York already had some trouble, a little bit of damage. Boyles peeking inside of Timothy the first time. Timothy will not lead a lap right now as Boyles goes by. So now the pressure's back on Zach York. Chad Genningsman pressuring him right now for position. Actually, there's a little bit of gap there, but, Genningsman starting to pressure him. If he slides back, that's another point in favor of the 8 car. He's going to try to get around Jorgensen. He knows he's got to go. He's got to minimize the gap now. Boyles is leading the stage, so if let's say we were racing to 78 and this race was done, that's Boyles as a winner. Zach York has to go. He has to capitalize and get as many as he can, because right now, Boyles is sitting at 10 stage points, and it will be, what, 6 or 9, 8, 7 for Zach York. And actually, Chad Genningsman going to make it 6 for Zach York.
And we will get those points to you as soon as we can. Of course, ours will be unofficial, but looks like Boyles running away with this stage, which is exactly what he needed to do. And here we go. So we got 10 laps to go in this stage. Justin Boyles running away with it over a second ahead of Timothy Latham. And we've got another yellow flag. That is not what Boyles was wanting to see. So believe that it's going to involve PJ Engelkens here. Let's go back and take a look at another wreck replay.
It's also going to involve Daniel Dow, who's got quite a bit of damage, it seems like.
So we will go back and try to find out what happened here. And you said it will involve Daniel Dow. Let's start off with him. See if he is involved at all. Oh, there, yeah.
Right there.
He just spun it. Oh, he gets down. He hits the inside wall. It didn't look like he hit anybody else. But then let's go back, because PJ Engelkens, actually, that's just PJ Engelkens' car the way it is. So I believe. Let's go back and double check. So PJ Engelkens.
I was going to say, PJ's car wasn't that damaged before, so he definitely hit something as well. He actually could have been the caution.
Oh, Timothy Hendry got into the back of him.
He's going to get some help there. It's going to take the bumper off there. It's kind of some odd contact to remove the bumper, but I know he was pinching and squeezing a couple of guys earlier in the run, so maybe some frustration there for the guys racing around PJ Engelkens. I know he was the guy that kind of squeezed inside of Chad, causing Chad to spin, but a couple of our guys up front did come to pit road. The 5 of Timothy Latham has come down pit road. Looks like, I think the 97 will have joined him. The bad news for Justin Boyles is Zach York did not join him. So Zach York is going to restart 3rd, try to minimize the amount of points that Boyles gets here in this stage. Boyles going to try to capitalize, stay out front of Chad Genningsman and Zach York, and all the new tires that are going to be coming behind him.
Yeah, Timothy Latham, Benjamin D, both come into the pits on lap 69, and so they've still got they'll have about 5 laps to try to catch up as much as they can for this stage. Those stage points really don't matter to Timothy, but Benjamin D needs those points desperately. So big strategy play for him, big swing in the bat to try to get as many points right now as he possibly can.
Yeah, and honestly, just talking about Justin Boyles, he's never going to wish bad on any driver, but what he needs to happen here, Sean, he needs to go down into turn 1 and somebody rough up the back bumper of that 49 car, because he's doing everything he can do right now to stay alive, but by that 49 car being in 3rd, it minimizes that effort. There's no more spots Boyles can gain. He's up as far as he can go, and there's, Zach York right behind him in 3rd.
Well, and as long as Zach York is right up there next to him, I mean, granted, you're going to have Justin Boyles get, let's say Justin Boyles runs the table and gets maximum points. But if Zach York takes 2nd place in each stage and then 2nd place in the race, I'm not sure that Justin gets in. Well, I mean, Justin wins the race, obviously, but I'm not sure that York really goes out of the race at that point.
Well, the bad news for points race, and Daniel Dow has taken his car behind the wall to the garage and retired for the evening. So I thought the pace car lights were out the last time by. Maybe getting a delayed caution here, get everybody lined up correctly.
All right, Justin Boyles is going to get this restart. Take us there, Brandon.
All righty, Justin Boyles capitalizing on an opportunity here. Not as new tires as some cars behind him, but only a handful of laps left in stage 1. We're back to green. We will see what Zach York can do to try to stay locked with that 8 car. Oh, we're going to have a caution. Tim Hendry's around.
Timothy Hendry once again. And so we're going to go back and take a look and see what happened once again with another wreck replay.
And that that is going to be the end of stage 1 as well. Justin Boyles, the admin in charge, coming across and announcing that it will be the end of stage 1 here.
And let's see what happened on this restart. So Tim Hendry in the 07 there. And Benjamin D just got to the back of him, and he just went spinning. Luckily, didn't hit anybody else on the track.
For my viewers that happen to know what a brown spot is, I guarantee you that Timothy Latham just brown spotted himself, because there's no way that didn't look scary from his point of view.
All right, so, Brandon, I was not able to get the points as far as who came in first, second, third, fourth on down for the stages there because of the caution. I know Justin Boyles won that stage. Do you know who took second by chance? It must have been Chad Gunningsman.
Chad Gunningsman's going to get second. I'm actually going to go back here. I'm not really sure why Justin Boyles wasn't at the lead there.
He went ahead and pitted.
Okay, so he did go ahead and pit. So the way it's going to be, let me double check here. Give me just a few seconds to get this lined up.
And once Brandon gets this to me, then we will I'll put it into our little program here and find out exactly where people are sitting as we speak.
All right, so Boyles is going to be first place, obviously. Second place to Justin Boyles is going to be Chad Gunningsman. Third place, going the wrong way. Third place is going to be Zach York. Not by much, but it's going to be Zach York. And I assume you...
Yeah, I'm listening.
Fast,
no, you're doing great, buddy.
Next up, fourth place, Kendall LeVron.
Okay.
Fifth place, Dakota Jorgensen. Are you wanting just the playoff drivers?
No, just go down the list.
Okay.
Yep.
Next was Jordan Sailors.
Okay. All right.
Next up is Oscar Jensen. I was listening to Justin Boyles talking to us there. Said thanks for no interview. Followed it with some other words, but we'll get back to him. It's okay. I'll switch my pick. So when you watch this back, Justin, at this moment, just remember, if I switch my pick to Justin Boyles, it could change your race. After Oscar Jensen was Timothy Latham.
All right.
And then Benjamin D is going to be the last. Well, I mean, you've got a couple after that, but Benjamin D will be the last playoff drivers.
Okay, so based on the points that we have right now, so Oscar Jensen, Chad Gunningsman, looks like they are. Actually, let me figure this out here. So. All right, so I've got Oscar Jensen, Chad Gunningsman only 4 points above, actually 17 points above the cut line each. Then Zach York only 4 points above the cut line. Justin Boyles has trimmed it down to 13. So Zach York 13 points above the cut line. Justin Boyles 13 below the cut line.
Yeah, so it's starting to get tight. And Oscar's taking us back, green flag racing. It's the first time we've seen Oscar Jensen out front so far, Sean.
And I'll also tell you that Dakota Jorgensen has to win at this point. There is no way for him to get in without a win at this point.
Yeah, and honestly, we kind of, not to really poke the bear, I guess would be the way to say it, but we kind of suspected that he'd be in that situation. I mean, he hasn't been that strong in playoff runs, and especially in short tracks, but still don't count him out. Dakota can win each and every week.
And Oscar Jensen, again, one of those guys that really needed a good race. He kept that car clean the entire first stage, and now here he is. Lap 59 was his last pit stop. Oh, no, we got Kendall LeVron around. And Justin Boyles slams him.
That's going to hurt the championship odds for the man who was in control. And you know what? We'll talk to him during this caution. He missed his stage 1 opportunity, so we'll chat with him here in just a moment.
I'm not sure he's going to want to chat after this. But here comes Kendall LeVron. And Kendall just gets into it a little early and then spins back to the outside. Oh, and gets slammed by Justin Boyles twice. So a lot of
he
damage.
May not want to talk. We'll give him a moment to cool off there. And tough opportunity there because Boyles was doing everything right. Now Oscar's inside of the pace car at the front, so playing a little bit of hide and go seek on Halloween Eve.
One of the fun glitches. One of the fun glitches of iRacing is that you can drive inside the pit car.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't know that. You can get up there and hide perfectly in the pace car. It gets scary though. I've tried it a few times. It gets scary when you get down in the corner. You're still perfectly inside of that pace car and you don't know where you're going. It gets a little bit scary.
And as always, that throwback to Days of Thunder where Harry says, hey, go hit the pace car. Well, you can't do that in this game, unfortunately.
It's a good thing because Tim Hendry, poor guy, has hit about everything else tonight. So pace car, I'm sure, will be next on his list.
All right, well, Oscar will bring us back around. And again, still under caution here. I know Kendall LeVron coming out of the pits now. Jordan Saylor's in the pits. Justin Boyles coming out of the pits now. Justin's going to stay on that lead lap. Oh, it looks like Jordan Saylor's into the wall, into the pits.
Not a good night for some of these guys.
Just rough going, man.
Tell you, these truck guys, I got about 3 screens up here. I've got iRacing and I've got the truck race. And the truck drivers, they're having about some of the same luck as these guys here tonight. They're beating and banging all over the place. I'm going to go out to the chat real quick. Speed Racing Network said, let's go, boys. Obviously, likely Jason Tripp manning the ship there. But then Kirk Jensen said, go get it, Oscar. And Oscar's done exactly what he needs to do so far. He's kept the nose, the rear end, and everything in between of that 51 machine clean, Sean, as he tries to march up here and steal this one away.
And I'm just updating the points so we can show everybody on the next caution.
We do. I'm not really sure. It seems like a long little bit of a pit stop here, so maybe something wasn't right. Pace car wasn't ready to pull off the track, but
and there you go.
Tight.
So here is the current unofficial standings. So these are not official. So Oscar Jensen, 17 points above the cut line. Chad Gunningsman, 17 points above. Zach York, 13 points above. And then Justin Boyles, 13 points below. Benjamin D can still technically point his way in. Dakota Jorgensen and Kendall LeVron must win to get in.
Yeah, and honestly, of course, these being, as Sean said, post stage 1 right now, Oscar's name would then go to green. Oscar is our leader, but these are the most relative, especially, as we run currently. Of course, they will change, I'm sure, 101 times before the end of stage 2 even. Off of turn 4 this time, Oscar Jensen, for the first time, going to get us back to green flag racing for stage number 2.
And he doesn't get the best restart that we've seen because there's Benjamin D right behind him. Benjamin D was able to cut off Timothy Latham there and get down to the inside, so Benjamin will stay in second place.
Well, that's the bad news for these guys. We talk about superstition, and obviously a lot of guys look at superstition and things like that, luck on Halloween. Go back to Kansas, Sean. You and I called it. Timothy, the last time he won at Kansas, he won back-to-back-to-back. He's at back-to-back right now. And he's done come back through the field. Now, he's kind of taking it easy now. He's not really pushing the issue. But, when you start thinking about Timothy winning this race, where he's actually, Oscar just ran the fastest lap of the race just now, according to my crew chief in my ear. But, you start talking about Tim winning another race, those guys below the cut line then have no shot.
Yeah, but, Timothy Latham is not the type of guy that just sits on his laurels at all because he is out there. He wants to win every single race. He doesn't care if he's already locked into the championship. He wants another one.
Yeah, and Timothy's favorite win is the next one. So that's just how Timothy works.
Just looking back a little ways, so Dakota Jorgensen trying to track down Zach York. Again, Zach already with some damage. I don't really see any damage on Dakota Jorgensen yet, so definitely saving that car for later on in the race. Oscar Jensen up front, though, starting to pull away just a little bit, so 0.4 of a second, now a half second, basically. So Oscar on his way. So Kirk Jensen out there in the chat will love hearing that. Oscar Jensen in the lead. And as they come around, let me go back just again. Dakota Jorgensen still trying to track down Zach York. Everybody pretty content to kind of stay in line. Oh, no! Dakota Jorgensen spins himself, almost gets into the other cars in line, and Tim Hendry spins as well. So a couple spins on the same corner. No damage to anybody else or anything. It's just a couple of self-inflicted wounds there.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, more of what we've seen for 96 laps here. These guys just finding the slickest parts of the racetrack.
So here we go. Dakota Jorgensen in the number 24, just right up on the tail of Zach York and gets in just a little bit hot. He just cannot control that car. Almost gets Jordan Sailors once again. Justin Boyles almost gets into him as well, but does not, avoids that. But that will actually help Justin Boyles because he's still got a lot of damage he's got to get fixed.
Yeah, and honestly, the bad news for Justin Boyles is that back bumper's gone, or that front bumper, sorry, is gone for the rest of this race. So he's just got to make the best of the opportunity and honestly hope these guys keep crashing around him.
Jordan Sailor's missing the front of his car. Justin Boyles missing the front and the back of his car, I believe. So got a couple of a little bit of damage all over the place with Justin Boyles. Looks like the back is okay. We'll take a look at the front here.
Did some good repairs of the rear end of that 8 car. It was a little beat up earlier.
Yeah.
That front end.
Rough front end.
I'd tell you one thing I would do, though, Sean, maybe help him out a little bit. He doesn't have, you see there in the front end, is wide open. Well, never mind. That's kind of a silly thing to say. I mean, in theory, it would work. I was going to say you crank the grill tape all the way up. In theory, that's how it would work, but he doesn't have the spoiler there, the front bumper to put the grill tape. So
can't put grill tape on something that doesn't have a grill.
Of the simulation, though, I'm sure you can crank it up. You still start getting hot, but honestly, he's going to have the coolest car out here. If the simulator lets him turn that tape up and the car handles pretty good, I'd crank that baby on up there. Put all the speed to the front of that thing as you can and try to go out here and win this daggone thing.
Well, and being as far behind as he is, it's going to be tough to point his way in unless Zach York starts to fall back some more. So just some of these guys have to have bad nights. So Zach York, Chad Gunningsman, and then Oscar Jensen are the 3 that he needs to fall backwards, and all 3 of them are in the top 5 right now. So Justin's going to need a little bit of luck.
Yeah, and right now, you know, of the drivers in the top 5, the one that really surprises me is the guy in second. I mean, he ran second to Timothy Latham, and then he ran second now to Oscar Jensen. Benjamin D, he's got to be thinking, what can I do? You see him down there, 38 points, not technically in a must-win, but as Sean and I both said earlier, he's pretty much in a must-win situation. And if by chance, you know, Zach York's looking all good right now, positive 13, but if that 97 car finds his way to victory lane, it doesn't matter how many Zach York gains unless he can pass Chad or Oscar.
So really a lot of gamesmanship still out there, a lot of stuff to race for still. And so in a lot of leagues, top 4 has already been figured out. Not so in this league.
No, and you know, you have one driver right now that you know is going to be there next week. That's Timothy Latham. The rest of these guys, who knows out of those who's going to make it, because it's so tight right now for second, third, and fourth that one big caution, even though Justin Boyles is screwed up, let's say Oscar loops it right here and takes out the front 6. Then it's just the battle of damaged race cars, Sean, and whoever's got the most left in the tank.
And really, that's what short track racing is all about, is who can make it through the entire race with an engine and 4 tires.
Yeah, it doesn't have to look pretty. You know, there's been some of the ugliest cars. I remember back, I think it was at Martinsville. It could have been Bristol, but one of the guys tore up race car. I want to say it was Dale Jr. actually. Had an absolutely destroyed race car. He come flying up through the field, got to second, ran out of time. That car was ugly as can be, but it just worked. You know, he was able to knock off some spots and just tick, 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 tick away at it. And he might have won the thing if there was more time.
And then Oscar Jensen just starting to pull away a little bit. Which this is something that we've seen Oscar do a lot, where he's kind of mid-pack, 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 and then when he says it's go time, and he takes off.
Yeah, and this is out of the field. You know, if Timothy Latham had to pick one driver he didn't want to see at Phoenix, he can say pretty much anything he wants to say. It has to be Oscar Jensen. Oscar, if you look down at every driver here, and a lot of times, you know, Sean, you combine wins for 2, 3, 4 of these drivers, they still don't match Timothy Latham, but just a 1-win difference now. Maybe a 2-win difference. I'm sorry, 2-win difference between Timothy and Oscar on the season. So Oscar's been his shadow much of the season and what he's been able to do, and you know, wins and things that he's put up. So it's got to be stressful. Timothy going to go and try to get the bragging rights now as he's closing that gap rather quickly on first.
And just going back into all the data for the entire year, and have we had a race at Phoenix this year?
We have.
We did.
Early in the season, number 5 started on the pole. That number 5 machine led 207 laps, winning stage 1, 2, and the race. No one else even led the race at Phoenix, just the 5 car. So it's starting to get scary with the momentum that Tim's got going at the end of the playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean that's not what anybody else wanted to see either. So nobody wanted to see that you know, Phoenix was the last race, especially the domination to lead 207 out of 207 at any track, much less a short track, is insane.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, Tim had even told me, you know, he said early goings of Phoenix, I wasn't feeling too strong about it. He said, but I worked on the setup and worked on it. And at the time, they were under one sim racing, and the guys at one sim helped him out with the set. You know, he put in all kind of practice time. And he said he set a goal to just win the race, and he kind of one-upped his own goal, led every lap, didn't leave a point on the table. So, you know, he accrued max points there. He got the full 66 points that you can get at a race, and that's where they're headed for the championship. So if you're Oscar Jensen, you know, if you're Chad Genningsman right now, or even Zach York, the guys that are currently holding the other 3 transfer spots, what do you do? I mean, I know you've had to put a lot of thought into saying, hey, you know, we've got to go to Martinsville and qualify. Well, the bad news, again, to add to the fact that Timothy led 207 laps the last time, Timothy hasn't had to worry about any of these racetracks. You know, he went to Texas last week, and he won Texas. He wasn't worried about nothing. He'd already qualified. He's here at Martinsville right now. He's obviously one of the faster cars at Martinsville, but he's had all of his focus on Phoenix for 2 weeks now, whereas some of these guys won't get a start until tonight or tomorrow.
You know, I wonder if he kept that setup.
I will tell you, he put that setup. We do have a caution. But I will tell you that he put that setup under lock and key and held on to that thing.
I bet he did. Let's go to a rec replay. I believe Justin Boyles is the one that's involved here. Yep, he is spun backwards on the track. Let's find out what happened here. Just coming off the corner. And again, just gets sideways. And you can see right in front of him, Jordan Saylor's got a little bit sideways as well, Brandon.
I'm not really go back to that view real quick. Let's rewatch that replay exactly as you had it. I'm not sure what Boyles was doing here. We can go back to that in-car cam too if possible.
See if I can grab it here.
His RPM down here in this next corner. He's going to start, gets up to about 9,200. He gets it slowed up, and then all of a sudden just gasses it. See there, like it went down to 5,000 and back to 7,000. He was sliding, so maybe trying to make up a little bit of room in a hurry there and just spun the rear tires, because he was a 9,100 down to 5,000, back to 7,000, and then he lost the race car. So trying to do as much as he could with that damaged race car. Going to get on the throttle just a little early and loop the thing yet again.
Coming back down pit road once again. One thing you'll know is that Justin Boyles is not a quitter, so he will not give up on this, especially he can taste the playoffs. It's just, it's going to be really tough for him. He's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and Benjamin D there taking quite a bit of damage repair, it looked like, as well. I didn't think he had that much damage, but he sit in pits for a long time, and I saw various parts of that race car moving back into position, so apparently he had a little bit more damage than we suspected at the two cleanest cars on the racetrack right now are sitting 1 and 2, Sean.
And that's what you have to do here in Martinsville. It's not just staying clean because, like you were saying, the aero doesn't matter that much, but you got to be careful for that engine. If that engine doesn't work at 100% here, then you're just going to fall backwards so quickly that you just can't catch up.
Yeah, and you see these cars, Jordan Sailors, obviously he's down on power. He struggled. I think he's actually on the lead lap as of right now, but they're down on power. Him, Kendall LeBron, Justin Boyles, Tim Hendry, all down on power. Well, the bad news with that, they don't have front ends, so their aero's nowhere near what it needs to be. Aero you can throw out the window, though. And the reason I say that is because as long as she turns left in a tight manner, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Problem is just what we were talking about, being down on power, having motor damage. Unfortunately, you don't ever get back to 2,000. You may get some of it back. You get a little bit rebuild as you repair the race car. You're never going to be back at 2,000. I know, just speaking, I always tell stories about Daniel Bowler going back to last week at Dover. Daniel Bowler wasn't the fastest in the other series that we were running in, but he got some motor damage. He was down about 20, 25 horsepower. And, he was talking. He's, man, my race is over. That's it. By being down on horsepower at Dover, it actually made Daniel faster. Daniel got up there and picked off more positions than he had the whole race because with less horsepower, he could run more throttle through the corners. He didn't have to let off as much as some of those guys with full motor power. So not always is it a bad thing to have damage like this, Sean.
And it's really, really difficult, but sometimes you just have to be in the mindset of anything that comes is something that's good, and you just got to figure out how to make it good. But here comes Oscar Jensen with the restart, holding back a little bit and then taking off. So I think he saw Timothy Latham creeping up just a little bit, and so he just waited a little bit longer before he went.
Yeah, and honestly, Timothy's the first second-place driver we've seen be able to hold that position. Was able to quickly get to the bottom with his ability to restart. That's not what Oscar wanted to see. Oscar wanted to see Zach York or Chad Genningsman get up there and take second away, have Timothy fight back past them because now he's on the bumper. But don't count out the man in the 49 machine, Zach York. He's starting. We're creeping up on laps now, Sean, where his back's getting further and further against the wall, where some of these cars, Benjamin D, Chad Genningsman, all, were racing up to the front. Not so much Chad Genningsman, but Benjamin D was coming to the front. He was running second. He was running third. Now he's behind Zach York. Zach York's got to keep him there. He does not by any means want his teammate to win this race because that means he does not make it unless he passes the guy in front of him, two cars, Oscar Jensen, or the guy behind him, Chad Genningsman. One of these drivers, if Benjamin D wins, the four that came in here will not make it out if Benjamin D wins the race.
And Benjamin D just went by his teammate like he was just standing still. And so Zach York moves back into fourth position. And again, this is where you have to kind of think about the long game is, are we going for the win here or are we going for the stage points? What is our strategy here?
Right now, if you're Benjamin D, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're so many points out that if you win the stage, the guys, in a perfect world, there were 13 cars here. In a perfect situation, Benjamin D could have pointed his way in. It would have required Zach York, Oscar Jensen, and Chad Genningsman to be 11th through 13th. Unfortunately, Danny Dowd's out of the race. PJ Engelkins is a lap down, so there's no shot that Benjamin D, as he pressures for the lead here. He does have new tires. He got new tires on that caution, but he's got to go out and win the thing. He's got to get this car right where he just took it. He's got to get out in the clean air, figure out what the car's missing in clean air, see if he can beat these guys because pointing his way in is not an option. He just doesn't have the laps or the races left to do that. And that is, right now, the most nervous guys on the racetrack are driving a 51, a 9, and a 49 because those are the guys right now. One of them is out of this race, Sean, if it ended right now.
Well, and Benjamin D was able to pass all these people because he pitted up back on lap 114 during that last caution. And what a great move for him. Oscar Jensen last pitted on lap 59. So those tires are completely shot. Same thing with Timothy Latham. So Benjamin D has opened up over a second lead now. Now it's starting to come back.
He went very, very wide in that corner. So he's got new tires. He's got to save them. Driving away. You know, he could drive away by almost an entire lap here, but it's not going to do him any good. There's a stage break coming. Synchronized spinning. I guess Timothy and Oscar got loose off of the corner there. Timothy said they were synchronized spinning, but they were able to gather it back up as spin is back out to a 1.4 second lead now, powering away from these guys. Bad news, you know, with the cycle that Oscar and Timothy are going to take, they're going to have time to run them down. There's still, I think, 180, correct? Is the last break here?
No, well, 154. 156, sorry, 156.
I'm all over the place with the stages. So 156, so obviously Benjamin's green-lighted now, knowing that. He can go. The question is, if Timothy and Oscar can stretch it, and I don't think there's any way that they do, but if they stretch it without taking tires, they then have at least one set up on Benjamin, who just took a set there.
Yeah, those tires are so important right now. I guess the big question is, how far can you go on a tank of gas? And, you know, Timothy and Oscar back here, yeah, they're on old tires, but they're still running second and third. Oh, we do have a yellow flag, Jordan Sailors.
Now, I will tell you that's exactly what Ben did not want to see.
And so Jordan Sailors immediately went into the pits when that happened. So let's take a rec replay, see if we can find out what happened there right before he just took a toe into the pits. So here he comes, and not really seeing anything just yet. Oh, there he goes. Oh, huge hit into the inside wall.
I believe that might be the night for the 55 car. I don't know how much power she's still going to have.
I believe you're right. I don't think there's anything else that he can do.
Actually, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but since he pitted and that front bumper popped back up, Sean, I believe here in just a few moments we might get a notification that Jordan has pulled his car behind the wall. He might have alt F forward out of that one. Well, actually, maybe that was him coming off the pit road. I'm not really sure.
No, he's still in the pits based on what my scoring says. So still in the pits there. And then, of course, you know, what's really interesting here, Justin Boyles, I mean, that car is looking pretty dang good right now, actually, with the exception of that front bumper being gone. But maybe he got all of his damage repaired besides that front bumper.
Yeah, and honestly, if I'm Justin Boyles here, I'd not pitting. I'm going to go hope these guys tangle. If I do pit, I'm going to take 2 tires, try to get some spots, because if you can win another stage, you know, that's more points that you put in your favor. You know, here in about 20 laps, you're going to be coming back down. Everybody's going to take more tires. He's running right now somewhere near the back. I think about, what is it? He was, oh, actually, he's up a few spots. He did stay out under that caution. That's what he did do there. He's up in 4th. He's going to try to go up here and win this thing.
Well, Benjamin D pitted on lap 114, Tim Hendry on lap 114, Justin Boyles lap 116, and then you get the whole, 4 of them back behind him that all pitted just on this past lap 132. So that's Oscar Jensen, Zach York, Timothy Latham, and Greg Edney, and Dakota Jorgensen. So all of those are going to have fresh tires, fresh fuel to go the rest of the way in this stage.
Boyles just trying to maximize those points. Benjamin D, though, he's got newer tires in the 3 behind him. Newer tires in them, all behind him back there. So, not really sure. Maybe some 2-tire stops going on. Maybe for, I think was it Genixman? No, Genixman's up there. It's the car. Zach York beat Timothy Latham off of pit road.
Chad Genixman did take 2 tires based on what my scoring says, at least. But that was back on lap 84. So, not really sure what the idea is there. I don't see anybody else. Greg Edney maybe took 2 tires. His pit time was only 11 seconds.
Just a fantastic pit stop then for Zach York. But honestly, based on what we've seen, Sean, Timothy might have played a game there to allow Zach York to beat him off pit road because he wanted to line up inside instead of outside. Have a shot to take that back away from Zach York instead of losing spots. That's a game that'll be played here later. But Benjamin D checking the field down, saying, wait, boys, wait, it's up to me, and I'm out of here. Trying to win the stage. Knows he's got to get all the gap that he can get. He's going to do that right now. But Sean, those games being played on pit road of where, hey, I'm coming off in 6th. Let me slow down, let this guy go. So he restarts in 6th. I can go to 7th. I'm on the bottom. Because the bottom is the preferred line here, and it's actually going to gain 2 spots for Timothy Latham. Maybe 3, actually. Timothy coming back to the front.
Tim Hendry in second place, but Oscar Jensen will take that position away easily. And here comes Timothy Latham as well. Justin Boyles, he just wrecked. Let's go back and take a look. Yeah, he is hurt, and you can see that tire tilted in. That is not going to be helpful for him at all. Just having a really rough go at it.
Yeah, he going back to like the iVCS Truck Series, he's kind of in the spot I was in. Didn't really have the car count for the Truck Series last night. Timothy Latham, the admin over there, issued me a challenge. He said, if you win this race, we'll put you in the championship 4. And much like Boyles is facing here tonight, worst possible racetrack I could have went to was Darlington. I'm terrible at Darlington. Boyles not having the night he wanted. I did run the fastest lap in the race, but just wasn't able to get the victory. Same for Boyles here. He's been fast. He's done all he needed to do, but just not the track he needed to capitalize so far. And anything can happen. He could still do it. I mean, he's down, but he's not out until lap 300 crosses. So we'll see what he's able to do with that 8 machine. Oh, Benjamin D going to go wide.
I think he was just going to go ahead and let Oscar Jensen go. Same thing with Timothy Latham. He knows that his tires are 18 laps older, and so no sense in trying to run after these guys. Oh, we got a yellow flag. Tim Hendry again.
That is a big crash back there is what it seemed like.
Well, let's go back and find out with another rec replay. And again, just another situation, I think, where Tim Hendry takes himself out.
I will say that Jordan Sailors has retired his race car as well. So it leaves us just with 11 drivers left in the session.
And actually, Jordan Sailors was out in the chat. He said, I wheel hopped. So with that wheel hop, that's what sent him packing.
Throttle Up TV out there as well. Let's go, Oscar. Championship bound. Right now, Oscar's exactly where he needs to be.
Well, let's take a look at the Tim Hendry wreck. And so I apologize. I thought that I had already shown it. But here he comes into the corner. And he just gets that back end around. He's done this 2 or 3 times tonight. Really tough track. It's so flat. But that little bit of banking is all it takes to mess somebody up.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. Just a little bit too much throttle. Doesn't seem like too much at the time, but when that back end starts going, the track's flat. There's no banking to help you catch the car, and you're just going to loop it around.
So Oscar Jensen now up in the lead. So he was able to pass Benjamin D. Same thing with Timothy Latham and Zach York on those brand new tires. So Kendall LeVron also on new tires up in 5th position. So remember, Kendall LeVron is a must-win situation, and here he is up in 5th.
Yeah, and he stayed relatively out of the incidents. I know he got involved in a slight one earlier. Made some contact with, I think it was Chad Genningsman, I think, was who he contacted with a little bit, but kept that car relatively clean so far, Sean.
Hey, that car looks fantastic for Martinsville.
Yeah, and especially to be 144 laps, almost halfway at Martinsville. Beautiful, beautiful race car left for Kendall LeVron. Very much capable of stealing this thing.
But up front right now, Oscar Jensen, who, again, not completely pointed into the playoffs. It's going to take a lot for him to be kicked out of the playoffs, though, at this point.
Yeah, especially, running in the top 3 or 4. He's kept that car where it's clean. He's actually about to take us back to green flag racing here, Sean. Get us going.
Oscar Jensen on the inside, that preferred line. And then we got Timothy Latham on the outside. Oscar Jensen just waiting, and taking off. Timothy Latham diving down to the inside as quickly as he can. Can't quite make it there in time. Zach York already down there.
Yeah, Zach York really shoved the issue there. He was pressing hard. And the reason to press hard, you ask, hey, why is he pressing so hard? We've seen Benjamin have the car to win. So
yellow flag.
Oh, caution back out.
Tim Hendry again. We will go to another rec replay. And here we go with yet another Tim Hendry. This time, Chad Gunningsman gets into the back of him, so he did not do that to himself this time around. Chad Gunningsman into his rear bumper, sending him spinning.
Yeah, and if you're Chad Gunningsman, you got to be careful. I know maybe not intending to get into the 07 there. The 07 had a rough night already, so, he's probably not happy with the performance as it's happened. So if by chance, you start poking the bear and the bear has nothing to lose, but you have everything to lose, you got to be careful getting into guys like that when they can still take you out of this thing.
Now, out there on the track, everybody still staying on the track except for Tim Hendry to get that damage fixed. But everybody else staying out on the track here, so everybody pretty content with where they're at.
Yeah, and I like I said, I've got the truck race pulled up on the third monitor over here. Kind of give you guys a play-by-play of what just happened, because I expect by the end of this thing we'll see it. They took it 3 wide. And the guy that was leading at the time, Grand Infinger, pinching low, pinching high, just trying to get an advantage on the rest of the field. They were 3 wide. He was beating on the outside car, beating on the inside car. I fully expect to see that here in the iVCS before this thing's over, where guys that keep those cars clean, have a little bit to lean on, maybe use them as a weapon trying to win this thing later.
I didn't even realize there was a 3 wide at Martinsville. I didn't even realize that was possible.
Well, I'll tell you, it didn't go so hot for Sheldon Creed, who was a guy on the top. He wound up going around and losing a ton, but they tried it. It worked for a moment, but not very long. So still not a good idea at Martinsville, but it is possible, I guess.
Well, and I can guarantee you, there are some of these drivers out here that are such huge NASCAR fans that they have that truck race on while they're racing this as well. And so you just never know. Some of them watch our stream live as well, so we appreciate them doing that. But right now, this has kind of turned into a caution fest here at Martinsville. Hopefully, we can get this thing cleaned up as we approach lap 156, which is our second stage break. So 6 more laps. Here we go. Oscar Jensen gets the call. He gets to start us off whenever he feels ready. Zach York in the position he does not want to be in on the outside.
See if he can get it going quickly, though. Oscar's going to take off. Zach York going to have the gap for the moment, but it's a tight squeeze to beat Timothy Latham down there on the inside. Just decided, hey, third sounds better than 12th. We'll just hang tight out here and let Tim have the spot for the moment. Oscar, though, knows he's just got a handful left to win this stage, and if he wins this stage, that means no one else can. Obviously, there's about 3 of them battling for a real tight position. Oscar needing points just to get out of that battle. He wants Timothy to stay second, and honestly wants Kendall to get third, because the guy he's battling with points-wise inside of the playoff cut is in third right now. It's Zach York.
And the guy that's really not liking this at all is Chad Gunningsman, because he's so far back. He's back in 6th position. And so with Zach York being up in 3rd, Oscar Jensen being up in 1st for this stage, that may kick Chad Gunningsman down to the cut line.
Yeah, and honestly, that's exactly what I fully expect to happen. And kind of go back and tell my story is, oh, Timothy had to fight that loose race car there. But, you were talking about some guys having the race on while they're racing. I will tell you, the way my setup is, I've got 2 TVs in my room, totally aside from anything I play games on. If I'm racing, I've got typically a kid show on one, because my little boy likes to hang out in here with me. But I've got, even if there's not a live race, I've got an old race on, and just constantly watching it. So I know a lot of these guys here that I've talked to are the same way. They like to watch racing while they're racing. So a lot of guys in that Truck Series playoffs that we were talking about doing the same thing that some of these guys are trying to do, win their way in so they don't have to worry about it.
Well, right now, this is the closest battle out on the track as the top. Oh, no, never mind. So Zach York able to take 2nd position away from Timothy Latham. Timothy Latham got way outside on that.
Yeah, and that's bad news for guys points racing, because, he's just 1 spot away from a stage win. He's going to find a few points separation. And actually, there
yellow
is
flag.
The caution. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here. That way we have the standings as they were. You let me know when you're ready for them, Sean.
Well, there is our caution, and so Oscar Jensen will take that 2nd stage. So obviously he will get 10 points. Who took 2nd there, Brandon?
2nd place belongs to the man trying to stay alive, Zach York.
And 3rd.
Timothy Latham.
Of course he's up there. Who's in 4th?
Kendall LeBron.
All right, in 5th?
Chad Genningsman.
All right, 6th place.
Bit of a surprise, but it's Justin Boyles.
Justin making that car work. Who's in 7th?
Benjamin D fell all the way back to 7th on that run.
And where did Dakota end up?
He wound up in the 8th spot. So the top 8 were the playoff drivers. Dakota, much like he's been, so far throughout the playoffs, kind of just staying alive, hanging around. But unfortunately, that I don't think is going to get him there. He needs the win.
Well, we will get those points updated as quickly as possible for everybody so you can see exactly where everybody sits. I will tell you right now that nobody has worked their way in or out of the playoffs just yet. And so we will work on getting those. Well, let's find out. No, nobody has worked their way in or out of the playoffs yet. However, you'll see here in just a moment where we're sitting.
Yeah, and it's honestly,
and that's
right there it is,
actually no, that was after the first stage. I apologize. We will get you the second stage here in just a second. I apologize for that. Kind of jumped the gun a little bit.
Let's see here. Looks like Oscar going to maintain the lead so far. Zach York going to maintain 2nd. Not really much has changed up front. Timothy going to be 3rd again. As smart as I know Timothy is, part of me feels like he allowed Zach to have that for the stage end because he did not want to start on the inside going into the final stage. And man, as I just watched this other race over here, it's going just about as chaotic as this one is.
All right. Well, got to tell you, buddy, here is how we're, you know what, we are, tell you what, we're about to go back to green, and then after we go back to green, then we will, we'll jump over, actually, yeah, we'll jump over to the standings here just right after we kind of get our next caution, I believe.
So here we go off of turn number 4, the guy that wants to win to match Tim, the guy that wants to win to not worry about the playoffs, and we're back. Timothy Latham with an excellent restart. They're going to be 3 wide into the corner. Oh, there's contact, but they're going to make it work. Oscar going to be on the downside of the contact. All kind. Oh.
And that's Boyles into the wall. Still green. Tim Hendry hits Greg Edney. Now they're spinning, but still green.
I imagine that caution flag will come out here any second. Be an upset Oscar Jensen, I'm sure. Went from the lead back to about 7th on that exchange. Timothy Latham coming out better than anyone else, but a couple of the guys, so you think about contact like that. If we see that type of contact, Sean, late in this thing, look at the guy in 4th, where contact like that could change everything for him. And
now we get a yellow flag. And so it looks like Justin Boyles may have been a little bit involved in that. So we'll go back to a rec replay. Let's go back and find out what happened with Justin Boyles first. Then we'll take a look and see what happened with everybody else as well. So Justin Boyles just coming around, gets into the back of Oscar Jensen. And not sure. Oh, and yeah, Justin just sends it, and he spins himself out. So Justin just having a rough go at it. Tim Hendry almost gets up into Justin Boyles there as well. Now let's go back. We'll see Greg Edney. We'll see this entire cluster up here.
Well, the one thing as we watch this replay, oh man, they were all over the place in turns 1 and 2 there. One thing that I want to remind you, Oscar Jensen leading this race last week, and the contact that spun him around was also with that 8 car, so maybe going back a little bit in contact. I'm not sure, we saw
all sorts of damage. And so we will go back up there and see if we can find out where everybody's going to stack out. Now, of course, Daniel Dow and Jordan Sailors are out of the race. Justin Boyles currently slotted in the 11th position, which is the final position that is out on track right now, and I don't see him on the track.
I'm going to need some popcorn if these type of conversations continue on in driver chat right now. It just went from 0 to 200. It didn't even stop at 100, Sean. Tempers flying everywhere on the racetrack right now.
I do not see Justin Boyles on the track right now. I'm not sure. Check your screen, Brandon. Is Justin Boyles, did he leave the track?
No, I'm really not sure how this is going to go here. I don't know if it's something we can say on the broadcast or not. Oscar Jensen, also an admin. Justin Boyles, an admin. Oscar Jensen has disqualified Justin Boyles.
Wow.
So, I don't know what's going on. I'm listening to it back and forth, trying to gain as much as I can out of it. But for the moment, Justin Boyles has been disqualified.
Wow. Huge turn of events there.
I will say they're back and forth and around about some, minus a few curse words. Was Justin felt Oscar was upset that he was put 3 wide and got freight trained, and then he was upset about the contact with Boyles, so he tried to block him. It's a back and forth between Boyles and Oscar right now that ultimately have led to Boyles being disqualified, and I'm guessing that that's going to stick for the moment because, you know, Boyles is an admin, Oscar Jensen an admin, and Jason Tripp an admin. Jason Tripp's not here tonight. Boyles has been disqualified. That leaves the only admin to be Oscar Jensen. So I don't know if there's anyone to undo the incident with Justin Boyles.
Now, Oscar Jensen is on pit road right now trying to get some damage repaired, so he's going multiple laps down right now. He is showing in 10th position, but Timothy Latham leading this race right now, so don't discount that at all. But Zach York up in second.
Contact, we're going to have another caution. P.J. Engelkins.
P.J. Engelkins.
Tim Hendry that time.
And on such a short track, I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't be surprised that it's the same person in a lot of these accidents. It has nothing to do with Tim Hendry being a bad driver, because I don't believe he is. It's just there's so few cars on such a short track, people are going to get into each other.
Yeah, and that's the honest truth. You know, it's, oh, man, there's a race going on over here. But you're exactly right. You know, it's so few cars and contact everywhere. Someone's got to go around from the contact. And when it's the same cars finding contact with, you know, the same cars, it doesn't mean he's a bad driver. Tim Hendry's actually an excellent driver. Problem being, though, wrecking all over the place at Martinsville.
And you could see that Tim Hendry tried to get down to the inside and hit the lip. You can watch right there. He hit the lip and then got into P.J. Engelkins there. So once you hit that lip, your car is going to immediately turn right.
Yeah, that's it. And just listen to some of the back and forth. Seems it has calmed down for the moment. I do see that Justin Boyles has also left Discord, so left the session and the Discord, of course. Unfortunately, disqualified from this one. Not the night that he would have liked, man. He was solid earlier.
And that effectively takes him out of the playoffs completely and totally. And so let's take a look. And in the chat right now, Taylor Smith saying, he's laughing. He's saying, wow, Oscar, dude, you can't do that. And, you know, again, not getting in the middle of that one at all whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't get paid enough for that.
I'm not touching that.
Our Taylor Smith? Is
I believe that's our Taylor Smith. And so while we've got a shot, let's look at those unofficial standings after the second stage. So Oscar Jensen plus 22 points. So, I mean, he's up there in 10th right now. He could potentially still be in this thing. Chad Genningsman, 18 points above the cut. Zach York, 17 points above the cut. And you just saw Justin Boyles is out of the race. And so right now, as it sits, I think our top 4 are for the most part locked in unless one of these bottom 4 wins, and it can't be Justin Boyles. He's out of the race. So Benjamin D, Dakota Jorgensen, Kendall LeVron, this is your shot. If you take your shot and you win this race, you are in. Otherwise, it's going to be Oscar, Chad, and Zach, I do believe.
Yeah, and honestly, that's where it gets scary for Oscar Jensen, who's a few laps down. He's going to be the 4th guy. So if, you know, Benjamin D, Dakota Jorgensen, Kendall LeBron win this thing, he'll be the guy out right now. So very, very interesting.
Yeah, huge turn of events there. So Oscar's got to get back out on the track if at all possible. He's been in the pits for now over 5 minutes. And so a lot of damage there. He's about 10 laps down. So he's going to have to need either someone else to wreck out completely that's in that top 4, or he is going to have to pray that that nobody wins from the group of Kendall LeVron, Benjamin D, or Dakota Jorgensen, who right now are sitting in 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that was a little bit of heated moments where everything exploded all at once, but the repercussions, Sean, could double back and not only get Boyles, but reach up there and bite Oscar too.
Yeah, huge turn of events. We will see how everything shakes out, but right now, Timothy Latham, he's got the green flag. Take us there, Brandon.
And here he comes off at turn number 4. He'll wait and set himself up nicely, and he's gone, trying to get away from the chaos that's been out back. And there's another caution.
All right. Oh, a huge wreck. This is a big one. So you don't ever wait for the big one at Martinsville, but that might have been what we got here.
Yeah, I'm heard someone talking to Tim about an issue. I don't think it was Latham, as Latham was clear. It might be Tim Hendry involved yet again.
Yeah, I believe he was involved. Oh, wait, that was a little bit further up. I believe that was Benjamin D, Dakota Jorgensen. Let's back that up just a little bit and find out what happened. Chad Genningsman also involved. So 3 guys, all of them need this win badly. Chad Genningsman, he might be in. Oh, it looks like Benjamin D just got to the inside of Chad Genningsman, and Dakota Jorgensen goes around. Lots of damage for all 3 of them.
More tempers flaring.
Wow, I bet there are. Oh, my goodness. These guys are all looking to get into the next round, and they're just bouncing off the walls and bouncing off of each other.
It's the way I hear this, if I'm hearing it correctly, the issue at fault here, the issue at hand, was apparently guys felt that the incident resulted from the way that Timothy Latham restarted the race. I thought it was a relatively clear restart, but it's kind of where the back and forth started, was the way he restarted, and kind of a trickle-down effect to everyone else left.
Well, let's take a look at that restart. So, I mean, he took off. I'm not sure I see anything there.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where that's coming from either. I know it's well beyond him, unless he feels that because he waited a little bit later, they were able to get inside. I don't know. I mean, to me, that just looked like a great restart by Timothy, by Zach, and by Benjamin D. Obviously, Benjamin D further back in the field, taking it 3 wide, but we've seen it happen here, Sean, for 200 laps now almost.
And it's not Tim Hendry because he's in the back of the pack, so not really sure what the issue is right there. But
yeah, I'm not really sure either. I mean, that's looked pretty cut and dry by both of the Tims, even Zach York. If I'm not mistaken, Zach York was the one that spoke up and had an issue with the restart. I know my names relatively well, but I could be a little skewed in saying someone had a problem with it, and we'll wait to see how it continues, because we've still got 119 laps here, and it's getting crazy.
Man, and with 119 laps to go, tempers are flaring. People are saying things. The good thing for me is I can't hear it, because if I could hear it, then the audience could hear it as well. And there are some words going on, I believe, that the audience doesn't need to hear right now.
I can guarantee you the best thing that happened was you being able to turn that off, because there's not so much in that incident. That incident was clean. That incident we could have shared with the viewers, but the first one, back to the old Boyles incident, that's not something our viewers needed to hear, because it was a little heated.
Well, we are certainly not done yet. We have not finished this race. We're not even 2/3 of the way through this race right now, Brandon. So, and we're going the rest of the way without another stage. And so, here we go once again. Timothy Latham with the restart, and we'll see if maybe whoever thought that it wasn't clean thinks that this one's a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, and that's the hope for myself. That these guys get it all figured out. Obviously, Oscar's the admin left in here. He's racing for his championship. Well, actually, he's still sitting in the pit box. We go back and see. I almost wonder, Sean, if they didn't actually disqualify each other. It
Not.
seemed that Oscar was disqualified, but since the incident, Oscar hasn't been back on the track. So
I still show Oscar as being in the pit. So as far as I believe he's just getting damage repaired right now. There was a lot of damage between him and Justin Boyles on that. So and I'm also not really sure if Justin would be able to disqualify Oscar after he had already been disqualified. So I'm not really sure if it's kind of the first person to the party gets the girl or what. But anyway, either way, Timothy Latham out front by a good 6/7 of a second here.
And the man trying to put pressure for a position right now is Kendall LeVron trying to grab second. Going to fall back, go a little bit under fire from Benjamin D. Back out to the chat. Taylor Smith's, and I'd pay to hear the driver chatter. Taylor, I know you well enough to know you absolutely would, because it's a little bit rowdy in Martinsville tonight with these guys. Bandit Production said it's getting hot in those cars. You are absolutely right, brother. It's all over the place, unless you're driving the 5 car right now, because he ain't worried about anything. He's out front trolling this show.
Well, these two cars, Kendall LeVron and Benjamin D., they're the ones that have the most pressure on them right now because they are basically in a win and you're in scenario. So there is almost no way, I don't see a way points-wise that either of these two can get in without the win.
Not with as little bit of cars are running now. There's only, about 6, 7, maybe 8 race cars out here. I think 7, honestly, is where we're saying. 8 race cars. Or 9, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
nine on the track. Yeah, 9 on the track.
Jensen's 23 down. So we've got 9 race cars. It's pretty much impossible. They've got to win. And when you're trying to win a race, the guy you don't want out front is pretty well in control of this thing right now.
Well, and if I'm looking at this correctly, then I believe Oscar Jensen will get 10 points for finishing in 10th position if that's where he finishes. And so so with 10 points plus everything else, I just don't see how anybody else could catch, as far as points-wise, those top 4.
I will tell you that Genningsman just lost his front end. The whole front bumper's gone off of the 9 car. He just found the wall the last time off at 2. So there's another car spinning.
Tim Hendry once again. And he's getting quite a bit of screen time tonight.
He said, let's just make it a burnout, pretend we won this thing, make it look good for the broadcast. Drive away.
And so we will go back for another wreck replay. And this one, honestly, Brandon, take a look at this. He just almost right turns there. I mean, I think it was getting a little bit, that back end was getting around, and so he right turned it.
Yeah, he overcorrected and then burned the thing down. Frustration you could see, I mean, all over the whip around there. But it looked almost, Sean, like that right front splitter just grabbed the ground and sucked him right up the racetrack.
And that car is definitely getting hurt. And so Justin Boyles out in the chat. Here is some breaking news. Per the rules, Oscar Jensen was right to disqualify Justin Boyles. I wrecked him on pit road. I shouldn't have done that. Tempers flaring. It is what it is. On to Phoenix. So Justin Boyles saying that Oscar Jensen was correct to disqualify him. So definitely some tempers flaring, obviously, but Justin Boyles doing the classy thing, going into the chat and saying, dude, that's my fault.
Yeah, much respect to Justin Boyles out there in the chat owning up to it because, you know, I've said this a lot, you know, about different situations, but as a league owner, you're kind of in control of these things. Realistically, if Justin Boyles wanted to be the guy to say, you know what, Oscar, it's fine. I'll take your spot. You sit out, you watch. He could have done that. Owning up to the mistake that he made. Obviously, it's Martinsville. It's short track race, and I did not expect to come out of here with no temper. Much respect to you, Justin. I think you're definitely championship caliber attitude. Definitely going to have a good run next season. Saw the announcement being made. Congratulations on that, and looking forward to seeing you run next week. To what Taylor said, the 0-7, just having a good time out there. Honestly, brother, if you've been here the whole time, he's probably not having a good time. He could be on a Friday night drive, just not worrying about anything, nothing to lose. But nonetheless, he has kept that 07 car running, and that's where I find my astonishment is that 07 is still ticking.
Not only is it still ticking, it's still in the lead lap.
Yeah, she's down, but she's not out. You know, there's no way. I would almost bet a severe amount of money that there's no way that car is on full power.
What would happen if Tim Hendry ends up winning this race?
I'm announcing my retirement for broadcasting on the spot that happens. We've probably had about 10 cautions, 8 of which have involved the 07 car. So these guys, let alone anything else, just barring the fact that he's hit everything but the pace car, and actually he almost hit it in that loop around there. If he wins this thing, I vote that Justin Boyles calls the championship and gifts it to Tim Hendry because that's insane, man. I'd have to retire. Honestly, I'd probably have to retire as a driver too. That'd just be it. I'd have to find something else to do with my time.
Well, Timothy Latham does not want that to happen. He has kept his car extremely clean all night long. Zach York, a little bit of damage there, but he is up front with him. These two have done the last 2 restarts together, and there goes Timothy Latham right off the corner. Gets a great restart.
Oh, Kendall's going to bump Zach York. He wants to win. We've got another caution.
And Zach York, not really, and again, not sure if he needs this win or not, Zach York, but definitely could use it. But we're going to go to a rec replay. And we're going to go back and take another look. And like we said, right off the corner here, you can see Latham gets a great restart right now and just takes off. And then Zach York.
Up the tires, so that's what I'm looking for here.
We're going to look at that again from Kendall's perspective.
Yeah, I need to almost see the steering wheel on this one to know, but we'll see from... Here we go. We'll see. If he starts turning right, he definitely locked up the tires, but it looked to me like he still had full control of those tires. I mean, not calling the guy out, you know, don't want to say that he's not telling the truth. Just going for the same spot there, but it looked a little close whether or not he locked him up there, Sean.
Let's take a look from the far chase and see if we see something different. I don't know.
I think he definitely locked him up, but it was after the fact. It was after the contact had already been made. He locked him up trying to get down and not completely spin him. I mean, that's just my outtake, Sean. How do you see it?
I see it the same way. I saw the right-hand turn after the contact, but that's all right, you know. Looks like Zach needs to win if a new winner emerges that is not Chad or Oscar. That's absolutely true. So, I mean, Zach needs those points as much as possible, but it is going to be hard running for him now because he is back in 8th position, Justin. And so we appreciate you being out there in the chat. We hope you enjoy the broadcast. I know not the best race for you, but hope you enjoy what we're doing here on the broadcast.
Did you see? Did you happen to see what Taylor said up there in the chat? He said, "If Tim Hendry wins, I'll run a Tim Hendry paint scheme Sunday." So I got the perfect. If by chance he does, he ran the Hudson Hornet scheme here not too long ago. That's the perfect one for you. I'll see if I can get a hold of him for that. Definitely have to protect the bottom there, Luis Lopez. I agree. I don't know. You know, Jensen saying that he locked, or LeBron, sorry, saying that he locked up the tires. I don't think that was the case, but honestly, you know, can't really blame Kendall. And Boyles said, "I'm about to come to the booth. Come on up and join us, brother. We'll make this thing work with 3 people. Call it like it is." He said he is calm, Sean, so don't worry. But yeah, Luis Lopez, you're getting down only just over 100 laps to go. You got to protect that. Timothy Latham, gone again as we get down in here. Oh, wait, no. I'm watching the broadcast.
Yeah,
replay,
you're watching the replay, buddy.
I'm a little off. Let's go back here, pretend that didn't happen. Boyles, come save me. I made a mistake.
Well, man, I mean, Justin Boyles, I love talking to him, and I think if he's mad at anything right now, it's the fact that we didn't bring him up for an interview after the first stage.
Yeah, we're going to face that final curtain here in just a moment. I think he's going to want to know what was going on. His high point of the race didn't get to have very many of them. Timothy Latham, though, this time going to take us back green flag racing. Great restart by Kendall LeBron on that outside. Can he get clear of Benjamin D? Well, he will.
Whoa! He gets way outside.
He really sent that thing. It didn't work the way he wanted it to. Maybe he thought the wrong arrow was in the rear view. Expected that to be Zach York with some payback. Maybe Benjamin going to pay the fact back for him, but he took it real wide, and the only thing they allowed was Timothy to get clear for the moment.
Out in the chat, Oscar Jensen says, pack her up, stuff the sausage in the trailer, we're done. So Oscar Jensen out of the race in 10th.
Well, Oscar has to be getting a little bit nervous here as the 97 car remains in place. If he wins, whoever's the low man on the totem pole, which by my calculation right now would be Oscar Jensen, he would be out if Chad wins. So, or Ben wins. Sorry, not Chad. I don't know. I reread in the thoughts in my head what Boyle said. Sausage is in the trailer. Can confirm. Don't want to comment on that. I'll comment on that comment after the broadcast. Get back to me on that one.
Well, and just like Justin was saying, so if Benjamin D, Kendall LeBron, or Dakota Jorgensen, if any of those three win, then Oscar Jensen is likely the one that's out.
Yeah, and kind of scary because, well, I don't want to put any premonition on it and affect, what seemed biased, but the one guy that I know that can go to Phoenix and have a shot to beat Timothy is Oscar. If Oscar doesn't go there, these boys got a tall task. And I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm saying it's going to be, it'll be a little rough. I know, depending on who it is, Benjamin's been up there with Tim a lot of races. Like right now, he's in his shadow. I think my dark horse right now, Sean, the guy that runs in third, the one that's survived and done all he can do when his back's against the wall, or Kendall LeBron, trying to do this thing.
Well, take a look at Dakota Jorgensen. So he pitted back on lap 198. So his tires are 66 laps fresher than the leader right now, and then another 40 laps fresher than the second place and third place cars. And so I think that if you need an outside contender, that's him, man. Dakota Jorgensen has a shot at this thing if he can keep this thing going forward.
Yeah, Benjamin D blinked out for the moment. Sean, for Justin in the chat, real briefly, can we pop up that picture after stage 2, the way it looked?
Absolutely. So let's go to the unofficially. This is what it looks like after stage 2. Justin Boyle's joining us here in the booth. Justin, man, rough race. We're sorry to see that happened to you. Tell us your thoughts on it, man.
We do have a caution as well, Sean.
Let's check out, see what this caution happened, and we talk under caution.
Yeah, it looks like it may have been Tim Hendry once again. So, and he's out there just burning up the tires, Justin.
Yeah, he's a little loose. It was like he's been having a tough night, but he's hanging in there. So
let's go back and check out this wreck replay as we've got Tim Hendry once again coming around. I believe it's going to be on this next turn. Oh, there it is.
That was a direct hit to the motor. That's going to hurt a little bit. You know what? I can't do it going forward. Let's try it in reverse.
And now he's just having a fun time out there now. So
he must have saw Taylor's comment. He said, you know what? Let's make it fun.
All right, well, Justin, welcome to the booth, buddy. Again, sorry to see that it went the way that it went. Your playoffs are essentially over. How do you feel?
Did you see that stage I won?
I knew you were going to ask us this. I knew you were going to ask us this.
That was so cool, man. Yeah, man, it's a tough deal, man. It's Martinsville, so just I can't really put it on anybody but myself, because I think back. I thought about this before the race. I think back to Kansas and Texas. The Kansas, I locked them up coming on pit road, hit the inside wall, gave up 10 stage points right there. Probably I felt like I was a little faster than Tim was, and I felt like I could have got that stage at the worst, 9 stage points. And then go to Texas in stage 1. You guys didn't actually catch it on the broadcast, but I missed pit road at Texas too. Although that time I was smart enough to just drive past it and not even try to lock them up and get it in there. But so I probably gave up about 4 or 5 stage points on that deal. So I mean that was the difference coming in the night. Talking about 15 points, and it took a little strategy. took tires there to see if maybe we could get stage 1 and did. And so everything was looking pretty good for a minute. And then Kendall had some issues in front of me, and I just, I don't know, hindsight being 2020, I probably should have went inside. But yeah, I'm just disappointed, man. I really thought maybe after that first stage I had a shot at it, but you know, it's a tough deal. It's just no room out there, and you got guys slipping and sliding and locking up brakes, and you know. But I'm excited to see. Got Tim, who's going to be racing for a championship, and hopefully, you know, maybe if we can, you know, get Dakota in there, and possibly Chad. I don't really know how the points break down right now, but
we'll get to that here in a second. The one thing that I want to make an announcement quick. This off season, you're going to hear it here first. I'm going to volunteer my time as a pit crew chief for Justin Boyle. I'm going to make him go to every racetrack and pit 15 times at each racetrack to make sure next season he didn't have any incidents on pit road. We're gonna work through this, and I'm gonna volunteer to help you with that. There's not much else I'm good enough to do, but we're gonna make sure you master pit road.
Well, you know, it's funny. I practice it a lot. You know, every time we're practicing for the race, I'll do a fuel run, see what the car's going to do on the long run, and then at the end of it, you know, instead of stopping and exiting out as these guys get going green here, I'm kind of interested to see what Dakota's going to do. See if he can hold them off. I know he's on older tires, but it's something I practice, and then you get in a race and you just try to get the most you can out of it and lock them up and wreck. But man, that's so cool though. We got 2 flashpoint cars out front, so I kind of want to watch this battle right now. I don't think Latham's going to race Dakota too hard right here.
Well, Dakota Jorgensen on 14-lap older tires than Timothy, but Timothy takes that inside and takes the lead.
Yeah, I fully was going to agree with Boyles there. I thought for sure he'd go to defense mode, but really can't afford to do that with, well, I mean, Timothy can, but Kendall LeVron going to power through to second. Real quick, Sean, before this battle heats up, let's go back, because I saw Boyle's comment as far as Oscar goes. Let's go to that. Let's cut to that point screen. So I'm really telling what we were seeing. So here, Boyles, Oscar, this is unofficial after stage 2. He was actually only 5 points ahead of where Zach York was running. So now if Zach and Chad can get a decent finish, kind of capitalize on that gap, that would put Oscar as the bottom man if we see a new winner here and kind of poke him out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess I didn't, like I said, I wasn't exactly sure how it broke down, but I thought for sure Oscar had enough of a gap coming in. But I don't know, man. You know, I guess maybe after the race you guys can hang around, interview some guys, and I'll see if I can get these points done for you guys as quick as I can. And I'm ready to go. When the deal went down with me and Oscar, I got all mad and I cut the computer off. That's why I said I'm about to join y'all in the booth, because I was on my phone. I had to boot up my computer. Cut my computer off. I threw my headset down, yanked my wheel off, and put it in the corner. And then I was like, crap, I got to do points. So
still got to have that computer. Benjamin D going to get shuffled wide by the man of the hour. Tim Hendry going to push him wide, take that spot away. Tim's coming to the front now, it seems like.
He's got about 300 less pounds of sheet metal on his car, so whatever he's dealing with engine damage-wise, he's probably making up for it with the lack of weight.
I see on my screen, I don't know about the broadcast screen, I see a front end on these. So I don't know, Sean, if you have him having a front end, but he's got one on my screen again. I don't know. He was gone for a while, but it's back there now. So I
think at this point he's just got I think it's just a
no. He's got one.
Steering wheel.
Yeah, he has.
He's got it
on that car. So.
Look at that thing.
The pit crew, they're gonna need a raise after this thing, because he's making it work. He's up to third.
Well, working hard.
Get ready, because you might have to retire.
Oh no, I forgot about that, man. Could be my last broadcast here. I said if Tim Hendry somehow wins it. Of course, the pit crew listened to the broadcast down there for Tim, decided to roll out the backup car and give him another shot.
Let me tell you, so like something that Kendall's dealing with right now in second, and the reason why Tim's driving away from him is because Kendall's hurting motor-wise too. He's down on power. Same thing as Hendry is. When you're down on power on old tires, you can't do anything because the car won't turn. You can't get back in the throttle, and even when you do get in the throttle, you don't have any response. I was dealing with that too. But then you throw 4 fresh tires on it, and you're able to carry enough momentum through the corner to kind of keep the RPMs up, and so that it doesn't hurt you as bad. So that's probably what you see right now with Hendry. He's probably on fresh tires here, and I don't know about Kendall, but he. I know I was racing him side by side for a little while after we wrecked.
I see what Tim Hendry has done. His night is over. He taped that car off solid. The motor just blew on that thing. So maybe that's why he had the front bumper. He taped it up real nice and decided he was going to go get it while he could.
Oh, man. He
Well,
hung in there.
he hung in there for a long time, but he will be out of this race. Let's see if that brings out a caution. Not sure if it will or not, but Timothy Latham now with about a 2.6 second lead over Kendall LeVron.
Yeah, Latham looks like he's going to be in good shape here. He's going to, I mean, if assuming things kind of stay to where they're at right now, he's looking pretty good to sweep this entire round. And for some reason, he's the man of trends, man. Last time he had a 8-race winless streak, he broke it at Kansas and won 3 straight, and he looks like he may do it again.
Well, the bad news for the guys left alive, if he's repeating history, Boyles, he did pretty good the last time we come to Phoenix in the iVCS.
He was okay. He just, you know, he won the pole, and then he led on lap 1, lap 2, 3, and all of them up until 207. I told him, now, so this is what I told him. I said, listen, if you're in a position to where you can lead every lap next week, I will stay out on a pit stop to make sure it doesn't happen. He said that was fine. He said he just wants to lead the last one. But
oh, Benjamin sliding! Saved it. He saved it there. He was all over the place, but he saved the thing.
To go back to his trends, though, so last time he won 3 straight, breaking a streak at Kansas like he did this time, and was looking like he's going to win 3 straight. He finished 2nd in his 4th one. So, you know, maybe I'm sure the guys who make the championship 4 are going to put in double time what they already do. So you figure Oscar coming with the best set that he can possibly get right, and I mean, he's going to be tough to beat. I don't foresee Latham leading every single lap next week. And it was a different package last time.
It was very different.
That was the high downforce package, and so you know, that could play a role as well.
He's found something. I know here as we're riding along, his wheels are tripping me out because you see a little bit of the brakes glowing in the middle of it, but the fact that his wheels are also orange has made that look very, very trippy as he continues to lead this thing.
I'm watching Sean stream, so it's in like 480p, so I can't see all that.
That almost hurts my feelings a little bit, but you can see up there on the track map up at the top right, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the number 5 car out front. You can see how far back Kendall LeVron is, so almost an entire half a front stretch. And so Timothy Latham definitely running away with this thing now. He's about to get into some lap traffic, and so he's got to be kind of cautious here.
PJ will move over for him. Hey, I don't want that to offend you, Sean, because you put the
not at all
on YouTube, man. So,
not at all. I'm just messing around.
I don't care. I would load back into the session, but you know, some external circumstances prevent me from doing that.
And there were a few.
Yeah, and you know, speaking on that, man, that was a heat of the moment thing. I hate that I did that, because especially if Oscar misses championship 4, because he definitely deserves to be there with 7 wins. But you know, I just I felt like we had a run on him there and got into the back of him, and I guess he didn't like that and just kind of parked it on the back stretch, and so beat his bumper off a few times, and so that kind of knocked the engine damage even worse on my car, and I reacted to it how I shouldn't have, and so, you know, I apologize to him and everybody in the league as well. You know, it's not how I should behave as a league admin, but really as, you know, anybody. So that's something we're trying to curb in this league, and so I shouldn't be attributing to it. But yeah, I hope he gets into championship 4 nonetheless, and you know, and if he does, he's definitely going to be tough to beat.
Well, the good news right now, he's got to be the biggest Timothy Latham fan there is that you could be. Because Timothy wins this thing, it's pretty much curtains for anyone else. You were the only one in my mind that had a shot to point their way in, and obviously, you know, that has come to a fold. So if
that's
Oscar,
not looking so hot anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did good. You knocked 2 points off in stage 1. You gained 2 points on
3, because I led a lap.
Or 3.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
3.
right. That's right. Yeah.
That's what Dakota was keeping me updated what y'all had, and I was like, no, their math isn't wrong. They're not thinking about the lead lap. I wish we could have a live tracker, man. That'd be freaking awesome.
I've talked to a guy. I will say,
iRacing, yeah.
Kind of talked to a guy that writes code, and he said it's something that he's been working on. Not going to say his name because I don't want anyone else broadcast-wise to go out there and contact my guy, but could be coming to next season for us. Could be something that much like you see on the actual TV broadcast. He's working on a code. He said it works relatively well, but sometimes at the moment it gets confused by non-playoff drivers.
Looks like Dakota looped it.
Yeah, we'll go back for a rec replay because he did turn it. So let's go back and take a look.
It's amazing at what iRacing will throw a caution for and what they want.
So here comes Dakota, and nobody around him at all. Just comes off the corner. Oh well, didn't do anything on that one. So let's see if let's see. There it is, right there. Yeah. So it gets a little bit of damage there, which again, he was one of the cleaner racers all day long. So, but now a lap down.
I will say one thing Dakota's found out the hard way. Staying out didn't work for him. He stayed out. He's on older tires than these guys, or even if he pitted, he restarted up front. He took less tires than the guys around him. So obviously he learned that didn't work. But
when did they take the green flag last?
Last green flag was lap 2:15.
So they can make it to the end. They're good to the end. I was gonna say, because everybody was kind of playing different strategies. I mean, it was like, when do you take tires? When do you not take tires? And because we had 5 extra sets tonight. But it's 60 laps per. But that's a tough call, because it's like, if you get out in front of somebody and you can hold the bottom, you're almost impossible to pass anyways. So I don't know. Maybe he was probably expecting more cautions, but I think everybody spread out enough. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, the closest battle on the track right now is this one, Chad Genningsman and Greg Edney. And so Genningsman looking a little worse for wear out there.
Yeah, I was still steaming and throwing my stuff, so I didn't get to see what happened. I was told that him and Ben had a run in. So,
well, his losing of the front end actually came off by himself. He come off of turn 2 one lap and barely grazed the outside wall, and that's what actually took the bumper away. I know he did have some, a run in with Ben, but as far as the bumper being gone, he just had a light tap to the outside wall, and bumper just went away. So,
just disintegrated, right?
Yeah, it just, I don't know if he put it through the wall, if he pulled it back in the race car, but it's gone now. So,
well, when iRacing had the new damage model on the Cup cars for a week back, it was Michigan week, and the first Michigan week of the season. And if you got into somebody with your front bumper, it would knock it loose, and it would actually roll underneath your front tires. So me and Latham were practicing, and this was the first time we had done anything with the new damage model in their test that week. And I gave Latham a bump down in the corner, and I didn't realize my bumper come loose. And I turned the wheel, but my bumper was underneath my tire, so I just went straight out to the outside wall.
Yeah, I think you, myself, and Latham actually went to Daytona during that same week in a private session, and we're playing around with it. I remember being on call for a race with Medlock where Zach York actually, I don't know if you remember it, Justin, but Zach York actually knocked his back bumper loose. And
Zach York didn't knock it loose. I did.
Well, you knocked it loose, but it was Zach York's back bumper. And
yeah.
He had a parachute effect because those cords that hold the back bumper on were still attached. And it was kind of slowing his total speed down. So I kind of missed that damage model because, as you said, if the bumper come off, you would get a debris caution, and it'd give you a caution for your bumper coming off. So,
well, you look at these cars on the track right now. I think the last thing we need is debris cautions.
Yeah, we've had our fair share tonight.
One thing I want to do, can y'all ride on board with Kendall LeBron? I want to see if he's downshifting in the corners.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I was when I was down on power. So, I'm not be able to see that. Y'all might be able to hear it. Let's see. No, he's just rolling it in fourth.
I guess I'm relatively slower. I know Latham was getting only down to about 5,500 RPMs.
Yeah, he's probably not going to make up a half a track. So
no,
I guess there's no reason to try to. Yeah, man. So we made the announcement today in the Discord.
I was going to ask about this. So
yeah. So
glad to have you here. Please go ahead. Tell us how it looks.
Well, so a lot of this was obviously through you and through Jason Tripp, who wasn't here tonight. So something we want to do with this league is really emulate the NASCAR Cup Series, right? And how do you do that on iRacing when we're not paid to be here? You know, if like these guys right now on track are battling for playoff spots, and so you know they want to be here. You've got a couple guys who aren't racing for anything, but I guess just a race. But so we wanted to move. I joined you guys as. Looks like he's gonna be all right. I'm watching this. Hold on.
Zach York getting a little bit loose out there, so we're going to be sure that Timothy Latham gets by him, and so that puts Zach York a lap down.
Backwards on the racetrack. It's going to be Kendall
That's
LeBron.
Kendall, yeah.
And so we are under caution. And so let's take a look at the rec replay, and then we'll get back to talking about the next season.
Kendall's going to stay on the lead lap here, so he actually needed that caution. So not a bad deal for him.
And so here he comes around, and again, all these things are self-inflicted damage. I mean, not too many. There are a couple of wrecks tonight where people ran into each other, but not too terribly many that weren't self-inflicted.
It's weird, man.
Look like that though.
Well, you come off the corner here, and for people who aren't on iRacing or people who haven't really driven around Martinsville, you come off the corner, and like there's not a big elevation change like at Dover. But it's just, if you catch it just right, it's almost like the back end of the car just completely disconnects from the racetrack.
That's the exact way that I described it earlier as well. Was it's the same as Dover with left banking.
Yeah, and you can't, like, you get it straightened back out, but you can't get back in the throttle. It's like you get it straightened out, and then as soon as you touch the throttle, the back end's still not quite on the ground. It's weird. And then of course we can't feel the G forces and the things like that. Like they can in real life, so just makes it that much harder.
So you can see Timothy Latham getting into the pits. Kendall LeBron, he probably should get into the pits, but right now the scoring is showing him as the leader. It looks like he's going to come in right now.
So let's actually, sorry to interrupt you earlier, Justin. Let's get back to what you were saying about next season.
Yeah, so we want to emulate the NASCAR Cup Series. So I joined you guys' Mid-South Madness League that's also broadcast on Speed Racing Network on Sunday nights. Y'all be sure to tune in if you're out there. And just started running with you guys, and you guys had the race by race payout, and I was like, well, this is a good idea. So we had kind of started talking about things, and so next season, man, we're gonna go to the $10 entry per race, and and that's really gonna allow guys to really be rewarded. I mean, when you perform well on track, it's also going to keep the car count up as we get into these latter stages of the playoffs. We're going to move to an 18 race schedule to make sure we keep the interest going. It's fun, being like the Cup Series guys, but man, this league started on February 7th, I believe. I mean, this was like, just to give you an idea how long ago this was before COVID-19 when this season started. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah. So, right. That's what I'm saying. So, and I think we've got 50 different guys scored in our standings, right? I mean, that's how many guys have just kind of came and gone. Like they come in, they run a few races, and then they just kind of disappear. So we want to try to get guys to come in and stay and really commit. And we've got a great foundation with these guys who are on track tonight. I mean, these are all guys who are going to be welcomed back with open arms. Even Oscar. I love Oscar, man. He's a great dude. He's a good dude, man. I really like Oscar. So, and hopefully we can find some more of the great guys on iRacing and maybe some guys who can compete with Latham, and Oscar, of course. I mean, he's got 7 wins. But so we're going to change the name, the Speed Racing Open Cup Series, kind of a play on the iRock Series. It's going to be the S-Rock Series, and so. That's awesome. A fun new name, and Latham's going to get me a logo set up and everything, and we'll kind of make that transition after Phoenix. I think is the plan. Get all our social media and stuff, but we get ready to go green here, as Brandon Browning would say. Timothy Latham is on the loud pedal.
He's probably the only one out there with a pedal that's still loud at this point. Some of these guys got one that's
a little, just it's like
loud,
medium. Yeah, you can just kind of barely hear it.
Yeah, it's like a weed eater versus versus a side by side.
That's Benjamin D up to second though. I don't know how much he's hurting, but
I know he struggled on the last run, just right here, right as you see, just power up off the corner. Or actually, I saw it. You guys didn't see it, but power up off the corner is where Ben's really struggling. I don't know if he is down on power or if it's just the setups went away from him. Just can't get back into the gas as soon as Tim can. But battle for third back there as well. Zach York putting the pressure on Kendall LeBron.
Well, Timothy Latham just jumped out to over a second lead just like that.
I think Zach is going to feel the pressure here. I think he really thinks, he needs to get every single position he can. And he's right. So, because obviously, like I said, we don't know what the point situation looks like. Man, this is... So I'll let you guys in on something, man. And if, people watching, you got Flashpoint, which is myself, Latham, Dakota. Chad's kind of Flashpoint. He's an affiliate, I guess. And then you got the Flying Arrows, which is Zach, Ben, and I don't know, Oscar's kind of their affiliate, I guess. There's some heated competition between those two teams. I mean, we really strive to beat the Arrows, and I think they really strive to beat Flashpoint. And so there's no doubt in my mind that Latham sees Ben in his mirror and is smiling, and Ben sees Latham in front of him, and it's just eating him alive.
Yeah, especially where he's at now, because he's driving as hard as he can drive, and he's just not getting closer to that 5 car. Honestly, Tim, just watching him, he's not really throwing it down in the corners the way Timothy Latham really typically does. He's just rolling in there, rolling out of there, picking the throttle back up, making sure to just stay ahead of Ben. I mean, he really probably doesn't care. Obviously, you don't want Ben to get within striking range, but just trying to do what he can do.
Well, so Justin, tell us, the one thing that you're forgetting. I know you set the payouts each race. Tell us the big money, man.
Oh, of course, the champion guaranteed $500. I mean, that's always a good incentive to join, right? I mean, I could use $500.
Absolutely, more than double what we did this season in half the time.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And I really think if we can find, another 14 drivers that are like the guys we've got now, who are consistently showing up, this can be one of the best leagues in iRacing. I mean, there's some heated competition, as you saw tonight, and I think it was magnified with it being Martinsville and it being a cutoff race. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, everybody has a pretty good mutual respect for each other as competitors, and we want to build on that. And then of course it's broadcast by Speed Racing Network. And I when I'm at work and I'm bored and I'm scrolling through Facebook and I come across iRacing streams and different broadcasts, and I'm telling you, there's not one better than what you guys. Oh, Latham got the curve a little bit. There's not one better than what you guys do right now. I mean, that I've seen. I mean, obviously the Coca-Cola guys, they have every single tool to their disposal. And so they put on a professional style broadcast. But as far as guys who are setting this up by themselves, doing it from home remotely like you guys are, there's not a better broadcast out there on iRacing than what Speed Racing Network does. And that was y'all's pitch to me, to get this ball rolling was, hey, when you watch a Speed Racing Network broadcast, it's going to be like turning on NASCAR on Fox or NASCAR on NBC. So so that's a great perk of it, as well, because when we get done racing these races, we go back and watch them. We like to watch them. Our family watches them. Ted Pullen didn't show up tonight, unfortunately, but Ted Pullen's first, second, and third cousins show up to watch. So
he's got family coming out of the woodworks for that. I'm like, some guys he didn't even know about. Oh, hey, I'm sister's uncle, brother's cousin.
Yeah. I mean, so he's got a fan base. Dakota's got a fan base. So
Oscar's brought quite a few here as of late.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome, man. Seeing the interaction. And unfortunately, I'm out of this race, but I was able to actually see the live chat tonight and seeing some interaction in there. So that's pretty cool. To get to read and be a part of, and and that transcends to what you guys are doing, Mid-South Madness. I mean, you guys do an awesome job there as well. So, and I enjoy running in that one when I can. So, just overall, man, it just makes sense for this league And I think in the long run, it's going to be a really awesome thing for the iRacing community. So if you're on iRacing, you can go to Facebook, go to iRacing Virtual Cup Series page. You can just search iRacing Virtual Cup Series. It'll come up. You'll see our logo that you see up in the top left corner. Like and follow that, because you're going to see some more information rolling out about how you can get in on what we've got going on. Also, go to do y'all have y'all's page set up, Speed Racing Network?
Not yet. We are working on that currently, so we'll get that up there pretty quickly.
Yeah, so as soon as y'all get that set up, we'll be sure to blast that all over our page, and so that way, these guys can get all the information they need to be able to join, what will be the Speed Racing Open Cup Series, S-Rock. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait till February. That's when we're going to tip this thing off, and it'll be Daytona week when NASCAR returns, and I can't wait. It's the best time of year when racing comes back.
Yeah, definitely. 17 laps to go here. Timothy Latham way out front. He's ahead by 2.5 seconds over Benjamin D. Out there in the chat, Bandit Productions says, come on, Ben, go get him. And Ben needs to go get him because that's the only way he's going to make it into the playoffs.
I will tell you, speaking of Ben, there while Justin was talking about the S-Rock series, not really sure what Benjamin D did to Dakota Jorgensen, but I will tell you, Dakota made a pretty fair attempt to cause wreak havoc on the 97 car. Obviously, Ben saved it. That was back about 5 or so laps ago, so I'm not sure what they did to each other, but obviously nonetheless happy with each other.
And, of course, those tempers are going to flare here. I mean, any short track, when there's not a lot of space out there, tempers are going to flare, and that's the way that it works. But after all is said and done, for the most part, all these guys get together during the week. They talk on Discord about various things, not just racing. But in the end, everybody kind of sings Kumbaya for the most part. But out here on the track, it's serious business.
Yeah, and especially within the time frame that from when the first green flag drops to the last checkered flag drops, and for a lot of these guys, we got Greg Edney that's slow. Not really sure if maybe he looped it around.
Looks like some damage there, so we'll have to go back and take a look at that shortly. In fact, we'll take a look at that right now.
It's gonna be that Alpha 2 thing again.
Yep, there it is.
Man. It's crazy, and you can't do anything about it. Like once you're sideways off of 2, as bad as he was, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I was telling Sean, we ran a belly up series this past week at Dover, and it was the same thing at Dover. Once you come over that hump off the corner, you were just hanging on and hoping you could straighten the car out, because you just lose all sense of feeling in the front of the car. Like the front becomes weightless, the back follows.
Yeah, Dover and Darlington off of every corner at those two tracks is so extreme. It's like every time you come off the corner at those two tracks, you've got to like yank the wheel to the right if you want to keep it close to the wall. Yeah. If you're ever like close, like if you're on the inside of somebody coming off the corner at those two places, you might as well just go ahead and cut the computer off, and because they're gonna drift down. That's the most extreme example. Here it's like it's just a slow break as you come off the corner, and you really coming off the 2 and 4 here, you gotta like treat the gas pedal like there's an eggshell underneath it.
Well, the one thing that I do want to say, and I think Sean was about to get to it as well, I think he's going to run out of time, but Ben starting to knock some time off of Timothy's gap here.
Yeah, it's getting closer and closer. It's getting there. Let's take a look at the lap times here. You can see that Benjamin D has been knocking off about 2 to 3 tenths of a second per lap. And so let's see what it looks like this time. Nope, this time it looks like Latham got him this time around. So I think Latham just dealing with all that lap traffic. 7 laps to go. Latham's going to have to do something wrong here for Benjamin D to catch up.
Yeah, there's more lap traffic out front, but not enough, I don't think. Actually, Tim's going to get not by much, but he's going to get a way back in his favor. Now, this is going to hold Ben up big time.
Yeah, Chad's not just going to pull over and let Ben go here, because Chad doesn't want Ben to win. So, there's a lot of points deals going on too, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's all strategy. And, I mean, from start to finish and from week 1 to week 35, which is where we're at right now, it is all strategy. And, the best strategist out there is Timothy Latham overall. But these guys are all, just trying to get into that top 4. And Benjamin D I think I have a bad feeling he's about to come up just a little bit short.
Well, I tell you, there's still a few laps left, and Chad running this line here, not really cutting him any favors. Could be bad. Ben decides, hey, he's going to tag that left rear quarter panel, try to get him out of the way, and he loops it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Up.
I think Ben's
Oh, yeah, he gave him a little nudge right there.
He said, all right, 3 to go this time by. You need to move, or you're going to be the caution that gets me back up there, because that's...
Yeah, Malicious out there in the chat saying, you got this, Ben. And so Ben finally going to get that inside line, and he's going to make it by, but too little too late. Timothy Latham way out in front, about 3 seconds out in front with only 2 laps to go. Just don't think that Benjamin's got it.
Yeah, after I know I picked Timothy to win this race, but after not picking him for back-to-back weeks and he went to victory lane, I wasn't making that mistake again. I wanted to see the Voodoo car make it to victory lane. He's taking the white flag right now. As long as nothing crazy happens, we'll see Timothy come back around this half-mile racetrack winner again in the iVCS.
And Timothy playing around a little bit, shaking the car back and forth as he comes around for the checkered flag. And Timothy Latham coming around, and he will win the Martinsville Mayhem 300. And once again, he is in the championship round next week at Phoenix. So what a great race for him.
Well, guys, I'm going to hop out of the booth here while y'all do y'all's interviews. If y'all want to hang tight, I will have y'all the championship 4 here in about like 10 minutes or so. We can update everybody and see exactly who's going to go race for a championship at Phoenix.
All right, man. Jump right back in as soon as you're done.
Will do, man. Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Timothy Latham is going to go ahead and burn it down as he goes ahead on to Phoenix. He was already in, but, man, this just solidifies the entire thing. So,
and one thing I want to say here before we start interviews as we watch him burning it down, I talked and I felt like Talladega, Charlotte, that round, the last round was Timothy Latham's round, and kind of cockily he come to me and he said, hey, this is my round. Kansas, Texas, Martinsville, this is Timothy Latham's round. And I thought to myself, man, he ain't really done anything in the playoffs. That's kind of bold, but we go to Kansas, Timothy wins. We go to Texas, Timothy wins. And now we're at Martinsville and Timothy wins. So, be on the lookout if Timothy comes to the chat and says, hey, I'm winning Phoenix, because he's backed up everything he's bet so far. He's batting 100 right now.
All right, Timothy just blew his engine. So let's jump into the results here, Brandon. So Timothy Latham first place, Benjamin D second, and Zach York in third.
Fourth place, a solid finish for Greg Edney, maintaining the lead lap. Fifth place, Chad Ginnigsman. Sixth place, Kendall LeBron.
You got Dakota Jorgensen in 7th, PJ Engelkins in 8th, Tim Hendry in 9th.
Oscar Jensen 10th, Jordan Saylor's 11th, Danny Dow in 12th place.
And Justin Boyles disqualified by Oscar Jensen for some wrecking on pit road. So he will actually come in 13th, even though he had completed more laps than Danny Dow or Jordan Saylors. And so that rounds it out. Let's see if we can't get a couple guys in here for some interviews. Let me find some people. Let's see if we can't get Zach York up here for his third place interview. Hey, Zach York, this is Sean and Brandon up in the booth. How's it going, buddy?
Good, it's going well. How are you guys?
Man, it is going really, really good. Great race out there. I'm not sure how you're feeling right now as far as points are concerned or anything like that. Any thoughts on that?
We were doing the calculations. I was down 3 to Chad, I believe, at the beginning. He gained on us that first stage. Second stage, we gained a little punch on him, and I think we were only 1 point down. All I really focused on in the last stage was beating him, and pretty sure we locked ourselves in, at least in the top 3, with finishing that third.
Well, man, take us through it. So, I mean, Martinsville being a short track, and you've already got a couple short track wins on the season, but Martinsville being a short track on the cut line, what type of stress was that on you being near that cut line?
Honestly, it was just I had to stay calm throughout the whole race. Obviously, stuff happened. I spun myself out twice. That was just driver error, not being smooth, not just pushing the car too much. But we had a great car. Had a great number 949 MCM Flying Arrows Ford Mustang. Just once we got pile driven in by the 20, I believe, we kind of just lost the car handling there and just didn't have the long run speed. But it was pretty strong throughout most of the day until that happened.
Well, man, assuming that you make it into the next round, I mean, we had Timothy Latham, who led every single lap of Phoenix the first time around. What do you have in the tank differently to possibly take him on?
I wasn't in the league before Tim was here, or before you sorry, not Tim was here, but before Tim, before we all raced at or before you guys raced at Phoenix. So when I was doing A opens and practicing earlier in the year, I was really strong. Had a really good car, good setup. I think Flying Arrows will bring us a good setup to compete for the win again next Friday.
Okay, so maybe a little bit of competition, and that's something that we desperately need in here in this very, very final race, man. And we will get those point standings to you as soon as possible. I know Justin Boyles is working on them right now. He promised he'd get them to us very quickly, so be on the lookout. Pull up our broadcast if you haven't already, and you may hear it.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. Have a great one.
You too.
All right, let's see if we can't get his teammate Benjamin D. And right now, Benjamin D, it looks like he's got his microphone off and his speakers off as well. So not sure if we're going to get him. We're going to try to. Benjamin D, this is Sean and Brandon up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. We saw your microphone off, saw your headset off. Didn't know if you were still there. So tell us what's going through your mind right now. As you know, second place in this race. We're not really sure how the point standings are shaking out yet.
Not very happy, I'll tell you that. I'm not happy with myself about the way I, hit Chad on that restart. That's 100% on me. That was a stupid move by me. I'm mad at myself for that. I shouldn't have been pulling those moves, screwing over Chad like that. Because, I've never had a problem with Chad. He's always been a clean racer. So, but, that came back to bite me in the butt because, they're obviously angry at me. I messed up their playoff chances, their playoff drive. So they're going to hold me up when I'm trying to get to Latham. So, that one came back to bite me. And I'm, it's upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's a short track. It's really tough for everybody out there. I asked Zach the same question, and so I'll ask you. Coming in with the points being as tight as they were, and with it being a short track, what was your mindset coming into something that you knew there was going to be wrecks, you knew there was going to be damage? What was the mindset for a driver coming in, knowing that it's going to be a tough race?
Keep the car clean, because that's going to reward you in the end. Keep the car clean, you're going to do well, and I'm able to do pretty well. We had a really good setup. Flying Arrows Ford Mustang was a really, really fast car tonight. We prepared a really good setup, and I got to thank Grayson. I got to thank everyone on the team for putting all the work that we do to put up the setup. But coming into the race, you got to keep the car clean. You got to keep calm. It's a long race, 300 laps. I've been running A opens. They're half this distance, and they felt like forever. So you gotta keep it calm, and at some points, you see people with the the incident between Oscar and Justin. People lose their cool. Things happen. Playoff implications.
Yep, definitely. I mean, tough all around. Now, next week is Phoenix, and assuming that you'll be there, so what do you got for us at Phoenix?
Well, Phoenix, if I'm in the playoffs, if I'm not in the playoffs, I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm going to put in the same amount of effort that I put into this week and the weeks before. It's just, the last race of the season. I want to make the finish count. I enjoy racing. It's my passion. It's what I do. So, putting in the efforts is something that I just strive for every week. So.
Well, man, we enjoy watching you race. We appreciate you being here, definitely. Is there anybody you'd like to thank before we get you back down to your teammates?
I always got to thank my grandparents. Got to thank my parents. Got to thank my girlfriend for watching. I also got to thank the entire Flying Arrows team because they put in the effort. We all put in the effort collectively to get these setups ready for this week. Grayson being able to do some last-minute stuff with me, on a whim. I text him, hey, can we work on the setup for like an hour? I just want to make sure we're good for tonight. He's always there. And, always got to thank Zach because he's a really good teammate to race with. We're racing for a championship, no less, but, we always have that mutual respect. So I got to thank him for that. And I got to thank my buddy Henry Kelleher because he'll pop into the thing randomly. Sometimes it'll just give me a few words of advice over the team radio and iRacing. So I got to thank him for that. Keeps me calm. So I got to thank you guys. Awesome commentating, as always.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. So, all right, man. Well, we'll let you get down to your teammates, and hopefully we'll have that announcement here shortly. But regardless, we will hopefully see you next week and see what you can do at Phoenix.
Gentlemen, have a good night.
All right, you too. All right, Benjamin D, our runner-up there. And so let's see if we can get Timothy Latham, our winner. And so winner for the last 3 weeks. And so dominating performance tonight, dominating performance all season long. Let's see if we can grab Mr. Timothy Latham. Timothy, this is Sean and Brandon up in the booth. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great.
Good deal. Well, I'll tell you right now, breaking news, Timothy Latham, you've made the championship round.
Oh, really? Oh my God,
you did it.
Crazy.
You did it, buddy.
That's crazy. True underdog story right there.
Three wins in this round will do that for you. So take us through this one, man, because for a little while there, you were definitely up front for a long period of time. You fell back a little bit, third or fourth place. What did you see that made your car so dominant at the end?
Well, to be honest with you, near the beginning of the race, I knew since I was up front, I wanted to get as big of a lead as possible. We had one restart on one of those cautions. I can't remember which one, where I think it might have been either Zach or Ben. One of those guys got to my inside, and I figured instead of fighting them for lap after lap after lap, I'd let him and Oscar get up there and battle each other. So I really wasn't running too hard after I got past. Didn't really have to adjust the car all too much this race. It felt really good out of the gate, and man, it was fast. I loved every second of it.
Man, so what do you have for us in Phoenix? I know we talked a little earlier, and I know Phoenix was a long time ago, different setup on the track, different setup on everything. What do you got for us at Phoenix coming up?
Well, I'll tell you something. We've been working on Phoenix for probably the last 2 weeks already. So hopefully we're going to have something that's ready to go and ready to win a championship next week. We had 2 3-peats earlier in the season. We got a 3-peat again. I'm going to try for a 4-peat this time.
Man, that is awesome. So one thing that Brandon and I were talking about a little bit earlier in the broadcast, so you had a fantastic setup last time around. Did you save the setup?
Yeah, I still have the set from last time, but I think where they had so many updates in iRacing, they actually made it so where it's a low downforce track now. Because I think the last time we went there, we were still on the high downforce package. So, it is going to be a little different, and I am prepared for it. I know how to get around Phoenix pretty well, so I think we got a good shot next week.
All right, buddy. Well, we will. Do you have anybody that you need to thank before we let you get back to it?
Yeah, again, thank you guys for putting us on each and every week. I want to thank Rays for the opportunity to become an ambassador. Since having them on board, I've gotten 7 wins now. So, hopefully we can keep up this partnership and get more wins as time goes on. But I want to shout out to everybody that's watching tonight. I want to shout out to the guys that were on track that raced me clean and respectfully tonight. I really appreciated that. And we'll see them next week. Hopefully we win a championship.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll let you get right back to it, and can't wait to see what you have in store for next week.
All righty. Thank you, guys.
All right. We'll drop Timothy Latham back down into his chat, but then we will welcome back Justin Boyles, so the league owner and operator of the iVCS. So, Justin, tell us how we're looking, buddy.
Well, as you said, big surprise, Timothy Latham made it in. He will go in as the number 1 seed. Zach York will be the number 2 seed. Chad Ginningsman will be the number 3 seed. And Oscar Jensen will be the number 4 seed. So those 4 guys will duke it out. Highest finisher will be the champion.
That is going to be an excellent race, and everybody can see up on their screen right now, next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, November 6th, the iVCS Championship Final at Phoenix Raceway. Justin, what do we have in store, man?
Well, this one's going to be a little different because nobody's going to care anything about stages. I mean, they're still going to be there, but you got to set yourself up to win the race. So, like Latham was saying, it's a completely different package. So I don't expect him to run away and lead every single lap like he did in the spring. And that's 4 dang good drivers, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be an epic championship battle, and I can't wait to watch it from hopefully like in my mirror will be the ideal place for me to watch them duke it out. But if that happens, they'll probably be laughing at me. But yeah, man, I'm excited. It's gonna be a great race.
So give me your prediction. Who's gonna take it? Oh, just you don't want to say anything now?
I got a teammate in there, an affiliate, but I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna make a little shocker pick. I'm going to go with Chad. I think Chad's going to win the championship.
Wow.
Really
Wow. That is a shocking pick, too. So, whew, it's going to be a fun race, man.
I think what you saw it last week at Texas, he wasn't going to run through Timothy coming off a 4 at Texas. He just wasn't going to do it. He didn't need to. I mean, even though a win would have locked him in, there was just no point in it. He knew he was in a good point situation. Next week points don't matter. So if he's on Latham's bumper at the end, I think he'll feel just fine running through him. But we'll see, man. I honestly think you're looking at your top 4 finishers for next week. But we'll see. You got that big giant dog leg for guys to cut, so I'm sure they're going to use all the pavement down there, and it's going to be fun, man. But I think Chad's going to get it.
Man, it is going to be a blast. So we will see everyone next week at Phoenix. So 9 p.m. Eastern. Do not miss this race next week. But for right now, for myself, Sean Griffith, for Justin Boyles, and for Brandon Superman Brand Browning, we are going to sign off right here with Speed Racing Network. We will see you next week for the championship. Have a great night.
Go vote.
Go vote. That's right. Go vote. But then come back and watch us race this race.
That's right.
Have a great night, everybody.